Under a cosmic night sky, the Amor castle of the Osilia Empire stands.
In the near future, guests gather for a grand banquet in a radiant hall.
A sudden rhythm of tang, tang, tang echoes as the scepter strikes the floor.
Prince Kyle Amor strides down the red carpet, a vision of regal confidence.
Nobles whisper in shock as the prince makes his unexpected appearance.
Gulping nervously, Tara Elios takes the prince's hand as they proceed together. The crowd questions if this stunning woman is truly the formerly secluded Tara Elios. Kyle bristles with annoyance as the judgmental murmurs of the nobles fill the air. Tara reminds a grumpy Kyle to smile and uphold their secret contract. Kyle sighs, skeptical of the person currently inhabiting the lady's body. A solitary figure stands on a scale, facing the harsh reality of her weight. She twitches and groans in bed, complaining about the discomfort of her new life. Waddle, waddle goes the lady as she laments being trapped in a novel's world. Thick with rage, Tara sits up, cursing the cruel label of being an obese loner. Memories of her family's future execution haunt her as she stares into the distance.
She reflects on the humiliation she endured before her soul claimed this body.
Screaming in frustration, Tara holds her head, fearing she might lose her mind. A sudden knock sounds at the door, startling the lady from her internal crisis.
Shoot goes the curtain as the maid rushes in, alarmed by her lady's state.
Huffed goes the maid as she struggles to manage the blankets while Tara procrastinates. Tara scoffs when the maid mentions a conference, assuming she isn't invited. Tara freezes in surprise upon hearing the Earl specifically requested her presence. She contemplates the unfamiliarity of being 18-year-old Tara Elios.
She recalls her past life and soul before waking up in this noble's body.
Though she lost significant weight over 3 months, she still feels burdened.
Memories of the original Tara flow naturally as she approaches the meeting.
A butler bows respectfully as she prepares to face for judgmental family members. Standing before the open doors, Tara prepares to enter the lion's den. Nervous and sweating, she faces her siblings, Arya and Jason, who question her presence. Arya grins mockingly, while Jason looks on with a cold, dismissive drag of his eyes. Chloe Elios, the family's business-savvy third daughter, watches Tara with a sharp grin.
A butler helps the struggling Tara settle into her chair at the table.
Logan, the military-trained fourth son, stares at Tara with silent, intense observation.
Bang! The doors burst open and the siblings stand up at the sudden intrusion.
Tara pushes herself up with effort as the head of the house arrives. A stern man stands framed in the doorway, radiating a cold, commanding authority. Lloyd Elios, the formidable earl and head of the household, makes his entrance.
His gaze is sharp as he glares at Tara, who trembles under his scrutiny.
Lloyd takes his seat, announcing news of administrative documents from the capital.
A sudden spark of shock crosses Tara's face as the news hits home.
Her siblings respond with unified obedience while Tara remains frozen in her seat. Lloyd explains that families are being chosen to support the next crown prince.
Gulp, Tara realizes this marks the beginning of her family's path toward extinction.
She looks back with a new fire in her eyes, ready to change fate.
The Elios crest gleams as Lloyd recounts their history as powerful imperial allies. Tara wonders about the mysterious boy mentioned as Lloyd laments their lost status.
Smash! Lloyd slams the table, declaring this their chance to reclaim lost glory. He lists rival families who have already secured influential positions within the palace. Discontentment fills his voice as he berates his children for their lack of palace roles. He offers a massive reward to whoever passes the exam and becomes the first secretary.
Shock ripples through the siblings as they stare in stunned silence at the lady.
Whispers fill the grand dining hall as the family observes her from across the table.
Nervous steps echo as the red-haired lady makes a hasty retreat from the judgmental gathering.
Sweets sit forgotten as she meticulously calculates business shares and potential luxury trade routes. A creak sounds as the maid interrupts her deep concentration on future commercial ventures. The maid watches in surprise as the lady enjoys a secret, hearty snack in her room. She requests to be notified immediately once the family's lunch concludes in the dining room. A heavy woo escapes her as she plots to block her family's path to the palace. Anxiety grips her as she wonders how to navigate the complex web of noble politics. Jason questions his father about the consequences of failing the upcoming administrator's exam. The red-haired woman scoffs internally, labeling Jason an idiot for his lack of foresight. Lloyd agrees to help Logan secure an early graduation later in the month. Chloe raises her hand, inquiring about the timeline for the royal secretary nominations. Lloyd explains the 3-year window coinciding with the ascent of a new emperor. Her eyes widen with a sudden stop, realizing the significance of the 3-year timeline. Determined to change history, her heart but dumps as she vows to avoid their ruin.
Gulp, she steels her nerves for the high-stakes confrontation she knows is approaching.
Steps sound as the lady descends the stairs, unaware of Arya lurking above her. A sudden swoosh of movement surprises her as a figure rushes down the staircase.
Bam! Arya shoves her aside, leaving the lady to wobble and grip the railing.
Fury flashes in her eyes as she accuses her sister of the intentional, dangerous push.
Arya mockingly apologizes with a wink, feigning ignorance of her sister's presence.
A thud echoes as she fumes, deeply insulted by her sister's cruel, dismissive behavior.
Waves of menace radiate from the lady as she internally vows to take revenge.
Arya acts innocent and young before her father, attempting to dodge any difficult expectations.
She tells herself to snap out of her rage to focus on the meeting. Raising her hand, she shocks her father by asking for an opportunity to compete. Lloyd glares as she clenches her clothes, demanding she stop her nervous stuttering.
She pleads for a chance, reminding everyone that she carries the Elios bloodline too.
Heartbeats bedoom as the room erupts in mocking laughter at her sudden, bold ambition.
Lloyd's explosive roar for silence instantly cuts through the cruel laughter of his children.
Looming over the table, Lloyd sternly asks which specific position she wants to attempt.
Gulp. The lady takes a shaky breath, preparing to announce her unexpected choice.
Lloyd stares with intense focus, realizing he might have no choice but to allow it.
Standing stoically, Jason questions Lloyd about his reaction to her sudden request. Lloyd reminds her that her past lack of effort disqualifies her from equal opportunities.
She stands tall, boldly arguing that trust is the foundation of their family's growth.
Lloyd and the lady exchange a tense gaze as he evaluates her new eloquence.
He pinches the bridge of his nose, questioning her bold claims about the family's trust.
She takes a breath and vows to prove herself without causing any disappointment.
A heavy silence follows as the clock's tick-tock counts down the tense moment.
Lloyd turns, declaring that she must now bear the full weight of her words.
He instructs the butler to assign the lady a teacher for her chosen path.
Lloyd exits as the door creaks, leaving behind a room buzzing with intense shock.
The grand estate stands under a bright sky as a new chapter of training begins.
Exhausted and sweating, the lady laments her poor performance during her first physical lesson.
She cries out in frustration while a servant tries to soothe her emotional outburst.
A muscular instructor peeks at her, offering stern advice on how to hold the weapon.
With a powerful slam, the instructor demonstrates the correct way to swing the heavy axe. She trembles with effort, struggling to even lift the massive weapon for her practice. A sharp turn reveals an irritated Tara demanding quiet to soothe her growing headache.
A sudden, deafening bam echoes as Tara falls hard onto the dusty ground during training.
Logan looks down with a cold, unimpressed expression as the struggling lady sits up.
Grumbling with frustration, Tara sits while Logan sternly orders her to walk 5 laps.
Pant, pant, and hoo goes her heavy breath as Tara runs under Logan's watch. With a heavy ha-ha, Tara focuses on survival despite her grim future.
Logan watches with a bewildered frown, certain that the lady has finally lost her mind. Confronting Logan, the red-haired lady boldly asks him to become her personal martial arts trainer. Logan remains skeptical and confused, questioning why the lady specifically chose him for this task.
Tara argues that training under a future general is an opportunity only a fool would miss.
Rubbing his aching head, Logan questions why she wants to train like a common soldier. With a dismissive turn, Logan rejects her, claiming he was born for war, not tutoring.
Logan instructs her to turn slowly, his expression weary as he considers her persistent requests.
Logan is stunned when Tara pulls out a pouch and questions his past resignation. Tara taunts Logan about his sensitive stomach, fueling his visible anger at being called out.
Outraged, Logan shouts as the lady mentions paying him a salary for his training services.
Tara brightly reveals a medicine that will heal him if he consumes it for a year.
Turning away, Tara tells Logan to leave if he thinks he's the only available knight.
A celebratory turn follows as Tara promises regular medicine and pay during their training. Kara bursts into triumphant laughter, confident in her secret knowledge of the original book's plot.
Standing in a nearby hallway, Lloyd listens to the ringing laughter echoing from within the mansion.
A bearded man reports to Lloyd that the lady's condition has improved significantly recently.
The man notes that Tara's stuttering has improved, though her physical abilities remain lacking.
Lloyd stands silently behind his desk, evaluating the report on his daughter's strange behavior.
Resting her head on her hands, Tara laments being starved after working out all day.
Reaching for a cookie, Tara is suddenly shocked by the arrival of a shimmering plate. The doors creak open as the maid rushes in, startled by the lady's sudden outburst. Standing defensively, Tara questions why cookies she never asked for were brought to her room. Sweat beads on the maid as Tara regrets training on an empty stomach earlier.
With the sharp turns, Tara forbids the maid from bringing chocolate chip cookies into her room.
A heavy droop reflects the maid's sadness as she faces her lady's harsh new rules. Feeling guilty, Tara apologizes for her harshness, admitting she has been quite sensitive lately. The freckled maid is shocked by the apology, revealing she isn't even Tara's personal maid. The maid explains she was just following orders, leaving Tara stunned by the revelation. The maid stands by the open door, her silhouette framed against the bright light outside.
Tara looks surprised as the maid claims she cannot follow orders against her own will.
Clasping her hands nervously, the freckled maid admits she has never heard such a request.
A nervous gulp escapes the maid as she stares back at the red-haired lady. With a sudden dash, the maid rushes to the laundry room to repair the lady's cloak.
Tara smiles to herself, reflecting on the small victory of her interaction with the maid. Victoria Elias, the formidable 48-year-old madam, reacts with shock and outrage to Tara's request. Groan goes Tara's internal frustration as she realizes the mansion is overflowing with visitors.
Victoria stands up abruptly, shouting at Tara for daring to approach her without permission.
Victoria continues her tirade, mockingly comparing her precious time to that of a mere commoner.
A woman stands up to apologize for Tara, claiming her child lacks proper family etiquette.
Tara stands frozen and sweating, facing the overwhelming pressure of the hostile noble gathering.
Despite the insults, Tara decides she has no choice but to endure the lady's contempt.
With a respectful bow, Tara apologizes for her rudeness and promises to seek permission later.
Victoria scoffs at the departing Tara, insulting her lack of manners and her bold request.
Tara's hands tremble with suppressed fury as she reflects on the humiliation she just endured.
Tara lists her siblings' personal maids to highlight the unfair treatment she has endured.
Victoria's teacup hits the table with a sharp clang as Bernard questions her lack of resources.
With a steady gaze, Tara clarifies she is referring to her total lack of personal servants.
Shocked whispers fill the room as the noblewomen realize the family's daughter has no personal maid. Victoria's face is a crimson flush as she stammeringly denies the accusations of neglect. Rising abruptly, Victoria manufactures excuses about paperwork and food supplies to cover her tracks.
Victoria trembles with a forced smile, granting Tara permission to finally hire a head maid.
In the hallway, the freckled maid wonders how Tara obtains secret knowledge about family food supplies.
Tara explains she intercepted news about Victoria's risky investments before entering the gathering.
Behind the closed doors, details of a lucrative wine investment and lifting prohibition orders echo softly.
Tara contemplates the high-stakes investment, planning to consult further to secure her financial future. Touched by her master's new maturity, the freckled maid reflects on how much Tara has grown.
Tara laughs off the sentiment, eager to conclude the conversation and depart the mansion.
Turning away, Tara announces her plan to test her luck, leaving the maid utterly bewildered.
With a sudden swoosh of fabric, Tara dashes out as the maid calls out in confusion. Outside, Bernard is flabbergasted, questioning Tara's sanity as they venture toward a dangerous destination.
Tara points decisively, asserting her sanity despite the reckless path they are taking together.
As they navigate the city, Bernard feels pathetic for chasing after a lady's whims.
A menacing aura surrounds the pair as they approach the infamous and lawless Lecton Road.
Bernard halts in his tracks, his patience wearing thin as he faces his new employer.
Frustrated, Tara demands to know what his problem is during their first outdoor mission.
Bernard explodes in anger, arguing that his role is martial arts instructor, not an escort.
Tara retorts that an escort's duty was clearly implied when she hired him for production. Bernard scoffs at the idea of a lifetime pledge, stunned by the weight of her request.
With a heavy sigh, Tara offers a 1-month trial to prove the benefit of his loyalty.
A triumphant smirk crosses Bernard's face as he accepts the deal with no takebacks.
Entering a dreary alley, Tara angrily reminds her temporary knight to maintain his composure. Bernard picks his ear dismissively, warning her of the lawless violence prevalent in this district. With a sudden swish, Bernard shouts a warning about the nearby gang, hurting Tara's ears.
Bernard grabs her, questioning her bravery as she struggles against his firm grip. Despite the danger, a bright, confident smile lights up Tara's face as she prepares.
Bernard swings his heavy axe, insisting they must move through the hideout with extreme caution.
He stops abruptly, signaling that a threat is approaching as Tara bumps into his gag.
Tara peers around him, her voice hushed as she asks if the coming danger is extreme.
Bernard orders her to wait by a wall, mentioning his delayed medicine with a grin.
With a sudden dash, Bernard disappears into the fray, leaving Tara alone in the alley.
Tara huddles against a brick wall, trying to stay hidden while the battle rages nearby.
Curious, Tara peeks over the wall as the sounds of a violent struggle reach her.
She watches in horror as several thugs kick and hit a large, defenseless man on the ground. A loud crack echoes as the old brick wall gives way under Tara's leaning weight.
The wall wobbles and crumbles, causing Tara to panic as the stones fall away.
With a heavy thud, Tara crashes through the wall and lands directly in front of the thugs.
Groaning in pain, Tara sits up only to find a cold, terrifying gaze fixed upon her.
The blonde thug glares down at her, and Tara pales, realizing she is in deep trouble.
The leader snickers as Tara's escape is blocked by the arrival of more hostile men.
With a hasty turn, Tara offers a clumsy apology and attempts to make a quick retreat.
The thugs mockingly label her a crazy pig and demand a hefty payment for the intrusion.
Tara offers a single gold coin, but the greedy men demand her entire pouch of gold.
The blonde man smirks, convinced Tara is faking her confidence to hide her mounting fear.
Tara crouches low, preparing to unleash a secret move to turn the tides of the confrontation. Tara gives the signal as Bernard charges forward with a series of heavy stomp sounds.
Bernard swings his massive axe with a powerful, sharp swish through the air.
A chaotic brawl erupts as the sounds of hit, punch, and a metallic clang echo. Tara watches the display of strength in awe, mesmerized by Bernard's incredible martial power.
Bernard's angry shots fill the alley as he scolds Tara for ignoring his orders to stay hidden.
Exasperated, Bernard rubs his face while fuming over Tara's reckless and fearless behavior.
Tara rambles on about medical details, explaining her calculations regarding Bernard's digestive arrival times.
The pair stands over the fallen, hooded man who lies defeated upon the rocky ground.
Tara crouches awkwardly, laughing off the situation while admitting her own physical limitations.
Feeling a bit guilty, Tara offers to pay for the mysterious man's medical treatment.
Bernard and Tara stare silently at the unresponsive man, waiting for a sign of life.
With a determined effort, Tara stands up, her expression shifting as the encounter continues.
Tara orders Bernard to give a payment to the man, acting as her representative.
A tense silence follows as Tara and Bernard share a look of deep uncertainty.
To their absolute shock, the hooded man suddenly rises, appearing completely unharmed by the beating.
A sharp smirk crosses the auburn-haired man's face as he looks back at Bun.
Bernard explodes in anger, insulted that the man was fine after they stepped in to save him. Turning away in frustration, Bernard prepares to leave the ungrateful man behind.
Tara urges everyone to hurry up and depart, eager to resume their original mission. The two walk away with a quick stride, though Bernard remains skeptical and annoyed.
The hooded man smirks, finding Tara's interest and her single gold coin quite amusing.
The scene shifts to the city landscape as the man suggests Tara is actually afraid. Bernard gives Tara a reassuring pat as she explains her feelings are purely instinctive.
Adjusting her hair with a quick fix, Tara notes the mysterious man locked to commoner scent.
Tara argues that the man's refined tone and strange behavior suggest he is wealthy.
Bernard dismissively picks his ear while Tara sighs, insisting they focus on their task.
As they reach the tavern, Tara reflects on her past life begging scholars for favors.
A bell goes ring as they enter the bar, where a customer lies slumped over.
Seated at the counter, the pair contemplates the intimidating aura of the man they met.
With a heavy sigh, Tara decides it is safest to steer clear of that unknown variable.
The barmaid calls Tara a chubby missy, leaving the lady feeling quite pissed off.
The red-haired barmaid welcomes them with a ho, focusing her attention on the muscled knight.
Bernard awkwardly clears his throat and orders a beer as Tara feels ignored.
A dull thump sounds as the barmaid places a large wooden mug on the bar.
As Bernard chugs the ale, Tara watches him with a curious and thoughtful expression.
Tara teases Bernard about his type, causing him to suddenly choke on his drink.
Shocked by her blunt words, Bernard reminds Tara that nobles should use more proper language.
Bernard questions when Tara had time to try strong drinks or learn about warm herbon.
With a look of innocence, Tara claims that warm black herbon doesn't even exist.
A moment of profound confusion follows, leaving Bernard utterly bewildered by the lady's claims.
Nearby, two cloaked guards approach the mysterious man, addressing him with the title, Your Highness.
The man stops in his tracks as one guard refers to him by name as Nick Bright.
The guard quickly kneels in apology, admitting he had a slip of the tongue regarding the title.
Nick Bright punishes the guard for the mistake, ordering him to run 500 laps.
Nick Bright watches as a figure jumps over crates, planning to stow away on a ship.
Contemplating the evening, Nick Bright regrets that one gold interfered with his gathering of information.
The subordinates report that the tavern has no direct connection to the local Lecton game.
Nick Bright wonders if the barmaid is choosing to remain neutral despite knowing his true identity.
Nick Bright stares toward the bar, asking his guard Walter what his reaction would have been.
Tara reflects on the inevitability of defeat if one faces an opponent without knowing martial arts.
Nick Bright contemplates a strategic retreat while conversing with his cloaked companion.
With a confident smirk, Nick Bright recalls the girl who surprisingly calculated everything.
A sudden realization makes Nick Bright come to a dead stop amidst the chatter.
Nick Bright observes a figure perform a nimble jump over the shipping crates.
Disappointed, Nick Bright watches the target slouch away with a truly pitiful demeanor. Moving slowly, Nick Bright observes a group of men gathered at the docks.
Nick Bright prepares to infiltrate their ranks to gather more intelligence. At the bar, Tara rises to leave as the red-haired barmaid teases Bernard.
Bernard lets out a loud slam on the counter, refusing to let Tara go alone.
Tara leans in to share a secretive whisper with Bernard to calm his nerves.
Inside the cellar, a blonde woman named Pete questions Tara's unexpected arrival.
Sipping her tea, Pete dismissively states she only accepts the most elite students. Tara leans forward with determination, requesting to turn the hourglass for a chance.
The atmosphere shifts as Pete silently turns the hourglass to begin the trial.
Tara lets out a nervous gulp as Pete gives a quick tap to the glass.
Pete inquires about Tara's ultimate goal while staring at her with intensity. Tara shouts her ambitious intentions, fueled by a desire to change her destiny.
Pete gives the table a rhythmic tap, questioning the Elias family's true desires.
A mechanical kerchok sounds as Pete tilts her head, waiting for Tara's response. Bernard lets out a low grrr while restraining the playful, red-haired barmaid. Pete gives the table an authoritative slams, granting Tara exactly 10 more minutes.
Pete probes for the reason why Tara believes her family is facing ruin. Pete illustrates the political danger, explaining that only one prince can wear the crown.
Slamming a document down, Tara declares her desperate need for the Black Society.
Pete mocks Tara's blank check, skeptical about her ability to provide future payment.
Tara lets out a worried gulp, promising payment in 3 years after her promotion.
Pete begins to rise, clearly unimpressed by the prospect of waiting for a check.
Tara strikes back, questioning if Pete lacks confidence in her own teaching skills.
Explaining her grand plan, Tara gives a quick glance away while discussing her succession.
Pete stands in silence, considering the audacity of the girl sitting before her. Deep in thought, Pete realizes she has found a very interesting potential student. With a decisive slam, Pete sets the terms for a 1-month trial period. Pete looms over the table, challenging Tara to prove her worth as a student.
As their carriage travels, Bernard asks for an update on the successful meeting.
Pete breaks into a triumphant ho-ho-ho, delighted by the smart girl she's found. Pete stands in the doorway, already planning the rigorous curriculum Tara will need.
Pete gives a firm pull on the rope, excited by the coming political chaos. The red-haired barmaid performs a deep bow, acknowledging Pete as her true master.
Pete issues a command to gather comprehensive information on the Elias family's heirs.
Pete turns back, ordering the barmaid to keep a close watch on Tara.
Pete hands over a sealed document, instructing that it be notarized immediately. Pete watches with a satisfied expression as her subordinate prepares to depart.
A mustachioed man receives a report regarding Tara's suspicious visit to Lecton Street. The nobleman learns that Tara has sought out Pete as her personal teacher.
He clutches his chin in shock, wondering how Tara managed to find such a person.
Looking out his window, he watches the chaotic training session while questioning Tara's choice. Tara trips during her run as the nobleman sighs, losing faith in her progress.
His aide moves with a swift whip, delivering an urgent message from a lawyer.
He places his hand on the letter, realizing it concerns Tara's recent activities.
With a resigned sigh, he agrees to deal with the pressing matter later. The Count stares in utter disbelief at the shocking report in his hands.
Tara sits patiently in her room, noting that her maid Beth is running late. A sudden and rhythmic tap-tap-tap-tap-tap echoes from the Havidar. Beth bursts in with a loud bang, reporting a lawyer's early morning visit.
Exclaiming a startled "whoa," Beth is amazed that Tara predicted the father's summons.
As Beth prepares her hair, she reveals the meeting is in the conference room. Tara nervously wonders if her father intends to introduce her to the other nobles. The family gathers around a massive table for a high-stakes, formal conference.
Tara's brother blushes while contemplating the high risks of manufacturing and importing.
Across the table, a regal blonde woman sits with practiced, noble composure.
The blonde woman confidently proposes quickly adding alcohol storage to their trade ships.
A bearded noble expresses financial concern as Tara offers a silent, focused nod.
With a sharp gasp, Tara realizes the political timeline is shifting unexpectedly fast. The sister reveals her secret connection to Duke Anton within the judicial sector.
The Count leans forward, questioning if she truly received aid from her mother's family. Eagerly, the brother stands with a sudden movement to request control over the liquor. While the brother begs for the job, Tara recalls the significance of the Anton name. A memory of vital information about Sorbonne wine and the Prohibition investment returns flashes.
The Count sternly asks how the family's losses will be repaid if the rumor fails. Seeing her father's sharp interrogation, Tara feels a surge of pride in his wisdom. Worry lines her face as Tara realizes the story's pace is accelerating dangerously. Fear grips her as she calculates a potential downfall much sooner than predicted.
The Count looms over the table, his presence commanding absolute silence and respect.
With a thunderous slams, the Count demands to be addressed by his proper title. Terrified, the brother lets out a sharp flinch and corrects himself immediately. With a decisive snap, the Count orders an immediate investigation into the Anton rumors.
As the meeting ends, the mocking whispers of the departing nobles make Tara flinch.
The sister towers over Tara, her expression unreadable as she stares her down.
Feeling deeply embarrassed, Tara cowers under the intense scrutiny of her older sister.
The sister lets out a visible frown, clearly dissatisfied with the younger girl's demeanor.
Softening slightly, she permits Tara to call her sister while promising to watch her.
With a sharp click-clack of her heels, the sister departs the chamber. An aide approaches the surprised Tara, relaying the Count's urgent request for her.
Tara follows the aide while nervously trying to wipe the sweat from her palms. With a determined clench of her fist, Tara resolves to win her father's support.
Nervous energy fills the air during Tara's very first private meeting with her father.
Surprised by his specific question, Tara reacts with a bewildered and vocal, "Huh?"
Tara takes a nervous gulp, hoping her next story provides the answers he seeks.
The Count takes a slow sip of tea before asking about a mysterious who.
Tara recounts how a local boy persistently copied her own intense training regimen.
She describes seeing the boy endure beatings while stubbornly clinging to his training axe. Initially, Tara assumed the boy would simply give up after only a few days.
To her shock, Bernard stepped in to personally oversee the boy's rigorous training.
Tara recalls being incredibly angry that Bernard favored the boy over her own instruction.
The boy's passionate vow to become the Empire's strongest swordsman impressed the veteran knight.
Bernard explains his decision to train the boy as long as he shows progress.
A heavy and authoritative slam echoes as the past narrative meets the present.
With a clever smirk, the Count finds Tara's strategic explanation to be genuinely interesting.
Taking a final sip, the Count reveals they have already heard the rumors.
Tara calmly begins to explain the true purpose behind her notarized blank check.
Tara reflects on Pete's motives, realizing she's viewed as an interesting trial for fun. Back at the table, a gasp sounds as the Count understands the notarization was a test.
A sudden creak echoes as the Count rises from his desk, leaning in intently.
The Count places a document before his aide, finalizing the legal maneuvers.
Letting out a hearty laugh, the Count praises Tara's spirit and determination. Shocked by the outburst, the aide notes he has never seen the Count laugh so hard.
Tara is bewildered, realizing this is the first time her father has shown her kindness.
Overwhelmed by emotion and food, Tara lets out a slump against the sofa. She takes a deep breath to snap out of it, refocusing on her goals. With a nervous gulp, Tara prepares to offer the answer she's held for years.
Clutching her glass, she acknowledges that her words may be heavily frowned upon. Taking a final sip, she anticipates the strict orders her revelation will likely bring.
A heavy thud sounds as Tara names her brother Brandon as her primary motivation. An oppressive silence fills the room as the Count stares at her in disbelief. His expression turns cold and sharp as he repeats the name with icy intensity. The Count stands with a sudden movement, shouting at Tara for mentioning Brandon.
Despite her fear, Tara realizes she must provoke her father to confront his past.
A somber memory surfaces of a young man lying at rest within a coffin.
A hand opens a mysterious gift containing a document and a dark ribbon. Overcome with grief, Lady Tara is shown sobbing into her hands while wearing mourning clothes. Returning to the present, she knows her father must overcome his deep-seated trauma.
With a thunderous slam, the Count warns her not to expect any leniency.
Turning away in anger, he refuses to listen to any of her excuses.
Tara begs him to hear her out as he remains tense and unyielding.
Letting out a tired collapse, the Count sinks back into his chair in exhaustion.
Tara declares her unwavering intent to carry out Brandon's aspirations in his stead.
The Count is stunned, seeing the same fire in her eyes that Brandon once possessed.
A sudden knock-knock at the door breaks the heavy atmosphere of the study.
A maid brings in refreshments as the Count suggests Tara eat before the final question.
Tara feels a wave of relief as her father visibly lowers his guard a pin.
The Count asks for her thoughts on their high-stakes discussion from earlier.
He rises to listen as Tara begins to formulate her strategic response.
Tara speaks with focus about obtaining a yearly permit for palace-taxed liquor.
Later, Tara flops onto her bed and asks Beth for digestive pills.
A quick swish sounds as Beth rushes in, asking about the rumored repeal.
Tara is surprised, questioning why a maid would be so interested in political news. She recalls her training days and the boy who refused to give up.
Beth leans in with a whisper, causing Tara to react with shock at the mention of money.
Beth reveals she invested 3 months of her salary, totaling 6 gold coins.
A visible sparkle surrounds Beth as she anticipates a massive 20-fold return.
Tara turns with a sharp movement, asking if the investment was in Sorbonne wine.
Beth explains the inside tip came from a nobleman in appreciation of good service.
Standing with a sudden movement, Tara urgently asks when the money was invested.
With a rough grab, Tara orders Beth to go get her money back immediately.
Tara warns that such information shared with commoners is always a scam. A loud "now" echoes through the room as Tara demands immediate action.
Beth makes a quick dash out the door as Tara collapses in frustration. A heavy sigh escapes Tara as she laments her stress eating and weight gain.
She sighs again, wondering why her mother would fall for such an obvious trick.
Looking out at the gathered nobles, Tara realizes the scale of the impending disaster. Tara tries to dismiss the political chaos before a sudden halt stops her cold.
A sharp slap sounds as Beth reacts in shock to Tara's sudden self-inflicted outburst.
With a sudden turn, Tara urgently demands to know if today's newspaper is in her room.
Tara and Beth rush back upstairs as the girl realizes she must read the news immediately.
Reading the chaotic headlines, Tara realizes the smuggling scandal is even worse than she feared.
Looking down from the balcony, Tara spots investigators and wonders if the Knight Commander has arrived.
Her gaze lingers on a handsome, familiar-looking man leading the group of knights across the hall. A sudden realization strikes Tara as her eyes meet the man's cold, piercing gaze from below.
Tara gasps in utter shock, recognizing the boy from her past training days in the night.
A transition page announces the next chapter as a character weeps over the mounting family crisis.
Panic spreads among the nobles as they wait for a lawyer to address the spiraling situation.
With a thunderous bang, an aide bursts in to deliver the worst news possible to the Count.
The Count reels in shock as he hears that the second prince has arrived in person.
Gritting his teeth, the Count realizes the investigation has begun much sooner than he ever anticipated.
He orders his subordinates to hide as he sits to prepare for the high-stakes confrontation.
Letting out a tired sigh, the Count requests a moment to think before facing the prince. With a sudden movement, the Count rises to meet the prince in the grand banquet hall. He demands that Harrison find the witness who recorded the events of that fateful previous encounter.
With a sharp salute, Nate is ordered to remove the knights to avoid any political misunderstandings.
The surrounding nobles tremble as they wonder if they too are targets of the prince's scrutiny.
The Count warns his followers that showing fear will only make their perceived guilt look certain.
Though they lack authority, the Count orders them to follow him into the lion's den.
The Count walks down the red carpet toward the seated, regal figure of the second prince.
Prince Kyle Amor greets the Count, noting it has been 2 years since their last meeting.
Elias forces a polite response while privately resenting the prince's casual and arrogant tone of speech.
Resting his chin on his hand, the prince bluntly asks if the Count handled the situation. Feeling visibly ticked, Elias reminds the prince that he remembers the benevolence shown to him previously. The prince calmly sips his tea while claiming his visit is a response to an invitation. The Count is left utterly bewildered, having no memory of extending an invitation to the prince.
Murmurs fill the hall as the gathered crowd wonders what secret plans the Elias family held.
The prince laughs heartily, asking if the Count's words from 2 years ago were merely jokes.
A memory surfaces of a fortress where the search for prohibited items first began years ago.
In the past, the young prince insisted on a search despite the Count's frantic, desperate denials.
For 1 month, soldiers tore through crates while the Count watched his business be picked apart.
The prince discovered illegal items hidden deep within the Count's own subsidiary company.
With a mocking smirk, the prince watched as unreported silk was tossed out for all to see. The Count was flushed with shame as the smuggling of luxurious silk was finally brought to light.
Desperate, the Count offered a bribe only for the prince to coldly remind him it's illegal.
An awkward tension filled the air as the Count tried to reframe the bribe as dinner.
Elias accepted the prince's terms with a sweating brow and a forced, nervous smile of defeat.
With a triumphant smile, the prince rode away, leaving the Count to contemplate his narrow escape. Back in the present, the prince leans in, claiming he arrived unannounced as a friend.
Low murmurs continue to echo through the hall as the nobles watch the tense royal exchange.
The prince announces he has cleared his schedule for the next 2 days of his stay.
Internally screaming, the Count curses the snake of a prince who has trapped him in his home.
Elsewhere, a noblewoman bites her nails as they plot to feign ignorance of the smuggling scandal. A noble advises her to claim she was a victim of a scammer's clever, elaborate lies. She fumes with rage, losing all composure over the massive loss of her own personal wealth. The men feared the prince's merciless reputation, realizing there may be no escape from his judgment. Tara expresses immense relief upon hearing the prince will be staying in the detached guest quarters. Tara reflects on Prince Kyle's predatory gaze, noting he is far from normal. Frustrated, Tara tries to recall crucial plot details from the chronicles she read. As she scribbles notes, a voice questions why she's working so publicly. A quick tap-tap sounds as Tara maps out Prince Kyle's role as the catalyst for her family's downfall.
A pouting Beth receives an apology from a sheepish, sweating Tara.
Tara promises to recover the lost gold, but a skeptical Beth remains unconvinced.
Tara instructs Beth to find a trustworthy servant for the guest in the detached house. A somber narration describes the persecution of nobles involved in illegal smuggling. Papers clutter the desk as Tara realizes she's only at the story's start.
A quick wipe sounds as Tara remembers the prince's street brawl and wonders about his true motives.
A transition page features the translation group's credits alongside a dapper nobleman.
Tara's brother questions their mother's funds while their sister frets over the prince.
A sudden rush sounds as the sister warns her brother to watch his tongue around the prince.
Exploding with a loud shout, the brother declares his loyalty solely to the first prince.
Sips of tea accompany a warning that the second prince currently holds power. With a joyful laugh, a young noblewoman clasps her hands in pure delight.
A quick glance sounds as the girl checks her reflection while humming a tune.
A sharp open sounds as she plans a visit to a boutique to impress her type.
A sudden hurry sounds as she chooses a scandalous dress despite her maid's vocal concern.
Dismissing the worry, the girl walks off to find the perfect matching jewels.
Back in the study, Tara points out key dates on various historical documents.
A newspaper from 5 years ago highlights the prince's sudden, mysterious arrival.
Multiple reports track Prince Kyle's meteoric rise and his crackdown on wine smuggling.
Shocked, Tara realizes the prince was the secret mastermind behind the entire investigation.
Overwhelmed, Tara lets out a quick stuff sound while eating a sandwich.
She lets out a heavy, tired ha sound of exhaustion over her mounting troubles. Count Lloyd Elias looks visibly drained while meeting with his inner circle.
Madame Andrea Pease makes a grand entrance wearing a bold leopard print cloak.
A soft rise sounds as Lloyd greets the formidable woman he invited into his home.
Andrea notes Tara's interesting personality and Lloyd's willingness to meet her steep price.
A sudden sip sounds as Andrea comments on the annoyance of the Black Society's information network.
With a sharp smile, Andrea offers a mysterious gift to the Elias family.
She mentions Garrick Anton, causing a sudden shift in the room's atmosphere.
A quick turn sounds as Andrea invites the Count to observe today's class.
A sudden rise sounds as Lloyd follows her out, troubled by a missing witness.
Niels receives instructions from Tara as she enjoys a snack at a small table. Tara hands over a secret pouch, emphasizing the importance of the task.
A sudden slip sounds as Tara demands the pouch be delivered to an exact location.
A sudden flinch sounds as Beth returns with more snacks, startling Tara.
Beth asks if the mysterious pouch can help recover her 6 gold coins.
Tara admits the pouch's contents are a mystery, but it remains their best lead.
A soft rise sounds as Tara prepares to face her family in the sitting room.
A muffled he sound escapes as Tara stuffs one final cookie into her mouth.
Lloyd fumes as he realizes Andrea is teaching all the children, not just Tara.
Andrea presents an administrative test question as a prize for her best student.
A sudden pout sounds as Tara accepts the challenge of the game Andrea started.
A sudden bow sounds as the blonde brother eagerly serves his new teacher.
Andrea tells him to focus on competence rather than just serving her.
A sudden raise sounds as the sister questions the value of Andrea's sample questions. Andrea scoffs, calling the other materials rubbish next to the Black Society's secrets.
Madame Andrea Piez notes the sample exams were crafted by the Empire's most elite former officials.
She boldly claims even an idiot could pass with just 1 week of dedicated, intense study.
Fired up, Andrea delivers her sales pitch with dramatic flair and 2 firmly clenched fists.
A sudden, quick pant sounds as Tara watches the woman's exhausting, high-energy performance.
A soft who sounds as Andrea introduces the high-ranking official who designed the sample questions.
Noble whispers fill the room as Andrea challenges them to prove their worth against the best.
A sudden rise sounds as the blonde brother asks if only one person wins the prize.
Clad in orange, Arya Elias questions the specific details of this week's mysterious homework assignment. The room erupts in shock as Tara and her siblings wonder how to solve the riddle.
A sudden, sharp flinch sounds as Tara realizes the test involves predicting the second prince's moves. With a slow, deliberate nod sounds, Count Lloyd Elias agrees with Andrea's brutal administrative lesson.
A sudden sparkle sounds as the youngest sister acts shyly, leaving Tara utterly bewildered.
Andrea cryptically promises that the prince's true purpose for visiting will soon be made clear.
A sudden turn sounds as Tara realizes the stakes involve her family's freedom and survival. Looking genuinely concerned, Tara asks for clarification on the looming high-pressure deadline. A sudden turn sounds as Tara asks Andrea how far they can push their investigation. A heavy, sudden boom sounds as Andrea stands firm, establishing a tense atmosphere in the room. Tara stares intently, realizing a single mistake could lead to a charge of high treason.
Andrea observes the visible distress in the students, noting the internal conflict holding them back.
Lloyd expresses doubt, asking Andrea if she truly believes his children can solve the puzzle.
With a soft smile sounds, Andrea encourages Lloyd to watch for his children's hidden potential.
A sudden rise sounds as Lloyd stands, fearing his children might actually go too far.
With a firm, professional shake sounds, Andrea departs, leaving the Count to contemplate the risks. Elsewhere, Prince Kyle reads a report about Andrea's new role as the Elias family tutor.
A sudden, sharp straighten sounds as an aide provides details about Tara Elias's reclusive past.
A quick tap sounds as Kyle orders a complete investigation into every member of the household.
With a mocking, cold smirk sounds, Kyle instructs his aide to let Tara wait for him.
A sudden, enthusiastic rush sounds as Nick lists Kyle's legendary military achievements and victories.
With a slow, subtle nod sounds, Kyle listens impassively to his subordinate's constant, over-the-top praise.
An internal ah sounds as Nick realizes he is digging a hole with his endless flattery.
Nick continues listing Kyle's many titles, including his rank as the most desirable son-in-law.
A sudden, mocking wahaha sounds as Nick accidentally mentions the prince's assassination bounty rank.
A heavy, sudden fall sounds as Nick collapses, begging the prince for mercy after his blunder. A sudden, tense grip sounds as the blonde brother sits alone, fuming with visible rage.
Joseph shouts in anger, deciding he will simply steal the answers to the practice problems.
A sudden, quick fume sounds as Joseph storms out, ignoring the butler standing nearby.
Back in his study, Prince Kyle notes a sudden shift as he considers Andrea's provocations.
With a sudden, sharp rise sounds, Nick vows to beat up anyone disrespecting the prince.
Kyle stands by the window, wondering how Andrea will use Tara to uncover his plans.
A cold, knowing smirk crosses Kyle's face as he anticipates the game Andrea has started.
Tring-clang sounds ring out as the scene shifts to the estate's training grounds at sunset.
A sharp, ringing clang sounds as Kyle expertly parries a blow during a high-intensity duel.
A sudden, brief threat sounds as Kyle turns his attention to the approaching head butler.
A sudden, sharp take sounds as the butler offers a letter from Arya with shalalala sounds.
With a firm, sudden set sounds, the knight rejects the delivery while the butler begs.
The butler pleads for his life as a sudden, sharp ugh sound escapes from his mouth.
A sudden, sharp threat sounds as the knight finally accepts and opens the scented envelope.
Kyle pauses to catch his breath, wiping sweat away after the grueling sword training session.
The knight informs Kyle that the letter is a non-dangerous message from the youngest miss.
With a slow, acknowledging nod sounds, Kyle accepts the letter from his loyal subordinate's hand.
A flowery letter from Arya Elias expresses dramatic longing for a handsome and seductive butterfly.
Prince Kyle's brow wrinkles in visible disgust as he finishes reading the overly sentimental message.
Seated in his study, Kyle lets out a weary sigh while massaging his aching temples.
Kyle stares into space, contemplating the annoying persistence of the woman who sent the letter. An aide reports that while others failed, the orange-haired Tara Elias is finally making her move.
Thinking ahead, Tara realizes the prince's curiosity is the key to securing a private meeting.
A guard informs the waiting Tara that she has exactly 15 minutes to speak with Kyle.
A rhythmic tap-tap sounds as Tara enters the room where the prince sits waiting. Bowing with deep respect, Tara introduces herself as the fifth child of the Elias family. A nervous gulp escapes Tara as she struggles to maintain her composure before the intimidating prince.
A sharp ugh sound escapes her as she feels Kyle's piercing gaze burning into her back.
With a quick set sound, Tara fakes a clumsy search for a non-existent lost item.
Nervous ha-ha sounds of forced laughter fill the air as Tara plays the part of a fool.
Another set sound rings out as Tara moves her search toward the prince's large armchair.
A sudden tap sounds as Tara boldly asks the prince to stand up for her.
Tara celebrates an internal yes as Kyle falls for her trap and begins to engage.
She offers a shallow apology, claiming she misplaced a valuable accessory needed for tonight's grand banquet.
Kyle remains skeptical, warning her that he will punish any impoliteness if the item is missing.
A radiant smile crosses Tara's face as she proposes a deal involving her answering his questions.
Observing his posture, Tara recognizes the prince as a cold strategist who rules with his mind.
She gambles on the fact that Kyle's natural curiosity will outweigh his irritation at her provocation.
Kyle looms over her, questioning if she is truly prepared for a severe and painful punishment.
He dismisses her request as a hassle, labeling her a reckless person with no sense of fear.
Frustrated by his fussiness, Tara insists he move so she can complete her fake search.
A sudden flinch sounds as Kyle questions her resolve and the difficulty of the administrative test.
Tara challenges him back, asking if he is secretly curious about the question she wants to ask.
A sudden set sounds as Kyle stands up, causing Tara to let out a sharp flinch.
The atmosphere remains doubtful as the two stand face to face, measuring each other's hidden intentions.
Tara asserts that her upcoming question is something the prince would never expect from a noblewoman.
She notes his cruel expression, fearing this high-stakes meeting might end up being a total waste.
Kyle leans in close with a quick tilt, causing a nervous gulp to escape Tara's trap. A mental shout of "No, Tara Elias!" echoes as she forces herself to stay focused.
Tara reveals she already knows why he chose to visit the Elias family's private residence. Kyle checks the time, coldly warning her that she only has 3 minutes left to continue.
A firm grab sounds as Tara clutches her dress while Kyle demands to know her reasoning.
Tara outlines a complex theory regarding the large-scale smuggling of Sorbonne wine and price manipulation. She explains how scammers used rumors of lifting the alcohol ban to swindle many small investors.
Tara boldly accuses the prince of acting as a secret spy to destroy her family's reputation.
A sudden flinch sounds as Tara realizes she may have pushed the prince much too far.
A sharp slap sounds as she corrects herself, claiming he is using her family as bait.
A sudden turn sounds as Kyle asks who the bait is for, while Tara names the scammers.
With a sudden open sound, Kyle begins to walk out, seemingly finished with the conversation.
A sudden, sharp gasp sounds as Tara realizes she hasn't even asked her crucial question yet. Kyle looks back with a mocking gaze, stating he never gave her permission to ask anything.
A soft, defeated ah sounds as Tara watches the prince prepare to leave her behind.
Kyle's eyes narrow with an icy glare as he responds with a chilling, "I beg?"
Desperate, Tara drops to the floor and begs for Kyle to explain where she went wrong.
Her face turns red like a tomato as she realizes her overconfidence has made her a fool.
With a sudden lift sound, she laments the shame of appearing so stupid before the Empire.
Kyle lets out a sharp ha and asks if she can accept the consequences of this failure.
Orange-haired Tara Elias accepts the consequences as Prince Kyle's intimidating presence looms over her.
A sudden, sharp bam sounds as Kyle asks which words he repeated most today.
Kyle threatens to recalculate her time, prompting a panicked no need from the kneeling Tara.
With a sudden soft sit sounds, Kyle settles into his chair with a thoughtful hum.
Laughing nervously with forced ha sounds, Tara incorrectly guesses his favorite phrase while clutching her dress.
A sudden low lean sounds as Kyle mocks her intellect with a cold, piercing gaze.
Feeling a sudden, sharp hic sound, Tara is momentarily distracted by the prince's handsome face.
Triple sweat sounds fill the air as Tara desperately tries to remember the prince's specific wording.
Gripped by intense pressure, Tara mentally commands herself to think and find the right answer.
Standing up abruptly, Tara correctly shouts "too confident" while Kyle acknowledges her occasional brain usefulness. Kyle explains that people often harbor excessive confidence regarding their knowledge, children, or houses. Tara remains confused as Kyle clarifies she is too confident in her knowledge and family. Kyle adds she is too confident in her accomplices as a man enters carrying cargo. Identifying Niels as the pavilion butler, Kyle orders his men to seize the startled man. A sudden, soft whisper sounds as a maid leans in to share a secret with Tara. Kyle maintains an unreadable, intense expression as he observes the fallout of his sudden command. Realizing her grave oversight, Tara mentally calls herself crazy for not suspecting her own family. Kyle stands and stares down at her, the tension in the room reaching a breaking point.
With a sudden tisk sound, Kyle criticizes her for ignoring the wrongness of her path.
He questions if she acted only to find her object or because of Lecton Road. The prince reveals his awareness of her curiosity regarding their past meeting on Lecton Road.
A sudden cold chill sounds as Tara realizes the full extent of the prince's observations.
Standing straight with a sudden straight sounds, Kyle expresses his deep disdain for unobservant high-ranking officials.
Intense ba-dump sounds echo as Tara's heart races while she clutches her chest tightly.
With loud ba-dump sounds, Kyle continues to mock those who rely on ridiculous, narrow knowledge.
Holding a small pouch, Kyle looks down at Tara, openly criticizing her arrogant, noble attitude.
A sudden, sharp realization hits Tara as she looks back at the captured butler behind her. Tara shouts in desperation, pleading for the innocent boy's life as the prince watches coldly.
A heavy, sudden thump sounds as Kyle drops the pouch, questioning her readiness for failure.
Tara slumps down with a heavy slump sound as Kyle orders the servant brought inside.
Guards roughly lead the bound and terrified servant into the room where Tara waits.
Tara begs for his release, taking all the blame with a sudden, forceful raise sounds.
Panic sets in as Tara realizes a commoner faces much harsher punishment for high treason. Kyle watches the emotional display with folded arms, his expression remaining impassive and judgmental.
A sudden, sharp gasp sounds as Tara contemplates the crushing weight of treason and trespassing. A sudden, rough shove sounds as the guards force Niels to his knees before Kyle. With a sudden, quick plop sound, Kyle tosses the pouch, questioning her knowledge of the gem. A sudden sparkle sounds as Kyle holds a red garnet, mockingly discussing honesty and trust.
Letting out a sudden sound, Tara listens as Kyle notes her immediate admission of guilt.
A sudden gasp sounds as Kyle points out the servant's refusal to name his noble accomplices. Tara mentally labels herself a fool for underestimating the loyalty and silence of her own servant.
Silence fills the room as Kyle stares from behind his desk, waiting for her next move.
With a sudden grab sounds and sounds, a guard demands answers while Niels recalls kindness. Recalling a simple act of acknowledgement, Tara looks on with eyes filled with tears and regret. Stealing her resolve, Tara informs the prince that she will continue to remain absolutely silent.
Tara argues that the prince's visit is just a game and shouldn't cause a public disturbance. Kyle smirks, challenging her to use her intellect to figure out his true game level.
A sudden, sharp ah sounds as the missing pieces of the prince's plan click into place.
Surrounded by political papers, Tara realizes the game involves a high-stakes struggle for the throne.
Kyle calls for the servant to be taken away as a sudden salute sounds from guards.
Blocking the guards, Tara desperately offers herself as a substitute for the butler's punishment.
Kyle coldly sentences the butler to detention, a fine, and 50 harsh floggings.
Terror grips Tara as she reels from the severity of the prince's brutal sentence. A sharp flick sounds as Tara instinctively recoils from the guard's sudden advance.
Clenching her fists, Tara tearfully insists on accepting the punishment to save the innocent. A loud freeze rings out as Kyle commands the guards to halt their movement.
Kyle questions Tara's resolve, noting that her noble status grants her a lighter sentence.
Looking back, Tara firmly agrees to take responsibility, but only within these private walls.
The guards salute as the heavy doors shut with a loud creak and slam.
Tara's heart goes ba-dump as a whip flicks, her past traumas surfacing in terror. In a black and white vision, Tara urges her younger self to run away.
Shadows of whippers loom as a voice screams for Tara to escape the danger.
Desperate cries for help echo through a surreal dreamscape that feels terrifyingly real.
A sudden fall sounds as Tara plunges deeper into the darkness of her nightmare.
Prince Kyle appears in the void, watching her with a silent and enigmatic gaze.
Tara awakens screaming, struggling for breath as her worried maid Beth rushes to her. Huffing for air, Tara learns from Beth that she was merely dreaming and drooling.
Beth explains that the guards carried Tara back after she fainted 2 hours ago. Frantic reaching sounds as Tara checks her back, fearing she was actually whipped. Embarrassment washes over Tara as Beth recounts 4 guards carrying her back like cargo.
Flushed with shame, Tara realizes she fainted before the punishment could even begin.
Kyle and Tara stand together in a celebratory display of the story's production game. Beth reveals the butler is safe, prompting Tara to ask about his current condition. Relieved that Niels is all right, Tara promises to explain the situation later.
Tara collapses with a prop, lamenting her shameful display of weakness after such bravery.
Beth urges Tara to prepare for the feast, but Tara hides under her covers.
Drowning in self-pity, Tara dramatically asks for an axe to end her humiliation.
Beth gently wipes away Tara's tears, encouraging her to stop crying and move forward.
Looking out at the sunset, Kyle hears a report that no intruders were found.
A guard reports the prisoner's suicide via pufferfish poison, leaving Kyle in deep thought.
Kyle prepares for the banquet, recognizing the prisoner's high level of professional training.
He reflects on Tara's unusual behavior, intrigued by her refusal to beg for mercy. Staring into the distance, Kyle wonders if the Elias daughter will prove useful. While getting dressed, Tara discusses the feast and her mother's likely attendance with Beth. Tara deduces the immediate danger has passed since the prince extended his visit's deadline.
Beth places a hand on Tara's shoulder as they continue their private conversation. Gulping nervously, Tara wonders if the upcoming meeting will be filled with hidden anger.
Beth offers a warm grin, interpreting the surrounding atmosphere as one of simple curiosity.
A sudden step sounds as they walk, discussing the strange timing of their tusks. Turning with resolve, Tara explains the need to uncover the prince's true intentions today. Opening the door, Tara confidently predicts her mother's safety due to the deadline extension. Walking down, Beth worries about the madame's potential embarrassment at the feast.
Tara asserts her family's resilience, earning a look of pure admiration from her maid.
With a weary sigh, Tara brushes off the praise, focused on the high-stakes banquet.
At the feast, Tara sighs with regret while contemplating the looming shadow of treason. Glancing around the table, she curses her lack of wit for making things harder. A noblewoman offers Tara valuable advice, questioning if she has truly understood the situation. Tara lets out a nervous gulp while focusing intensely on her meal during dinner.
Mumbling through her food, Tara steels herself for a fight she is determined to win.
Observing Kyle's cold gaze, Tara finds herself captivated by his noble and indifferent presence.
Nodding thoughtfully, Tara reflects on Prince Kyle's perfection while comparing his beauty to a fine painting.
With a sudden, soft smile sounds, Kyle maintains his handsome yet detached presence amidst the sparkling atmosphere. Determination fills Tara's eyes as she vows to grow stronger and overcome the prince's mockery. A sudden step sounds as a noblewoman in a lace-trimmed gown approaches Kyle with a tray. With the sudden turn sounds, Kyle dismissively ignores the lady's attempt to serve him personally cut pomegranate. A sudden, sharp rise sounds as Kyle stands abruptly, his hand pressing firmly against the wooden table. With another sudden turn sounds, Kyle departs while the room fills with the shocked chatter of nobles. Hidden behind silhouettes, Tara feels the weight of prying eyes, questioning her frequent private meetings with Kyle.
Sitting on plush sofas, Tara's father, Lloyd Elias, questions the prince's ominous claim that things aren't over.
Letting out a sudden, heavy pew sound, a weary Tara asks her father for more time to explain.
Crossing his arms, Lloyd Elias presses for more details regarding the prince's unpleasant parting words.
Looking around the grand room, Lloyd wonders if there are hidden secrets within his own estate.
Tara laughs nervously as her father slumps over his desk, lamenting his ignored warnings about the prince.
With a sudden tight squeeze sounds, Lloyd crushes a paper in frustration over the prince's unpredictable actions.
Standing alone before the massive bedroom doors, Tara appears small against the weight of her family's fate.
Back in her room, Beth yawns while asking if Tara's hungry, but Tara immediately asks for Niels.
With an intense gaze, Tara demands that the butler be summoned quickly to address the missing gold. Beth urges Tara to forget the lost money, fearing another fainting spell from her exhausted lady.
Smiling broadly, Tara explains that finding the thief is more important than recovering the money itself.
Laughing heartily, Beth admits she doesn't understand Tara's logic, but promises to keep working hard.
With a sudden sound, Tara playfully shakes Beth, insisting she call Niels because she is the master.
Niels stands by the bed, admitting to a seated Tara that he was initially disappointed in her. Looking downcast, Niels explains he now understands Tara's perspective regarding his immediate confession. Panicked shouting sounds as Beth rushes at Tara, terrified that the prince actually whipped her.
Puffing with annoyance, Beth crosses her arms and declares her deep dislike for the second prince.
Feeling embarrassed by the talk of her fainting, Tara asks Niels to resume their private discussion. Looking determined, Niels pledges to follow any order Tara gives him with absolute loyalty.
Tara notes that Niels is the most suited for the task she has in mind.
With a sudden firm grip sounds, Tara asks Niels if he is willing to meet the prince again.
Niels gives a sudden, silent nod sounds, accepting the dangerous task with a serious expression.
Sitting inside the curtained bed, Tara whispers the plan while Beth works quietly in the foreground.
Bowing slightly, Niels promises to try his hardest to remember every part of Tara's specific message.
Staring intensely, Tara instructs Niels to imagine he is speaking only to her to avoid being nervous.
With a sudden grip sounds, Niels accepts while a confused Beth watches from the background.
With a sudden take sounds, Tara hands Niels a gold coin as an advance for his service.
With a sudden warm grip sounds, Tara holds Niels' hand, promising to treat him as her own person.
Smiling brightly, Niels promises to deliver the message as early as possible to the prince.
Standing over the bed, Beth questions Tara's resolve to continue fighting against the cunning second prince. Letting out a sudden, wide ho-am-yan sound, Tara quotes a proverb about entering the tiger's den. With a sudden hump sound, Tara lies back confidently, vowing to tame the cranky tiger that is Kyle.
Beth remains skeptical, wondering why a high noble's daughter would even care about an administrative exam.
Tara looks drained as Beth tells her to stop making such a pathetic face while recovering. With the sudden set sounds, Tara curls up, determined not to just play around with her life.
Outside at night, Kyle hands a letter to a guard, ordering it delivered straight to its destination.
Kyle looks back as a guard calls out to him regarding a persistent intruder at the gate.
With a sudden sound, Niels is held by a guard who complains about the butler's shamelessness.
Kyle faces Niels with crossed arms, noting the butler's apparent lack of fear and approaching him.
With a sudden bow down sounds, Niels respectfully delivers a message from his lady to the prince.
Kyle questions the phrase, "your lady," while Niels remains firmly bowed in front of him.
Reciting Tara's bold words, Niels tells Kyle that he only wants to hear her degrade him further. Nick screams in fury while the second prince watches with composed indifference.
Niels stands before the second prince, continuing his report amidst the heavy atmosphere. Nick warns the second prince against shifting topics, his anger bubbling over. Niels recounts Tara's story about Peter, a talented apprentice under a man named Bernard.
A vision depicts Peter courageously facing the gang of boys that had long tormented him.
Despite knowing defeat is certain, Peter fearlessly challenges the gang leader to a fight. Covered in wounds, Peter refuses to yield, fighting back with an unwavering, desperate spirit.
Nick suddenly pops out, bewildered by the story's conclusion and Peter's surprising outcome.
Niels relays Tara's final message, promising to reveal the story's climax at their next meeting.
Nick grabs Niels by the collar in a rage while the terrified butler begs for mercy.
A defeated Nick lies on the ground as Kyle ponders the true end of the story. Kyle looks down with a smug, handsome expression, asking Niels what else he has to say. In a dramatic display, Kyle commands submission while maintaining his dominant and aristocratic presence.
With a confident smirk, Kyle invites others to join his cause amidst a sparkling celestial backdrop.
Kyle reflects on his time at the pavilion, realizing he gained a colleague and social awareness.
Niels delivers Tara's final sentiment. She has found a figure she deeply admires and aspires to emulate.
Kyle tilts his head in curiosity, questioning her appearance, while Niels stares back in confusion.
Niels relays Tara's bold promise to meet Kyle soon at the palace for another chance.
Standing before the looming image of Tara, Niels concludes his message about the administrative exam.
Kyle breaks into laughter, thoroughly amused by Tara's audacity to mirror his own arrogance.
A bewildered Niels stands alone as the second prince departs into the twilight.
From the ground, Nick questions the story's meaning, but Kyle insists he find the answer himself.
Kyle eventually relents, agreeing to explain the story as they walk through the quiet grounds. Kyle reveals the story's metaphor. He is the leader, and Tara is the girl who won't quit.
Nick finds the young lady's complexity troublesome, wondering if she actually intends to defeat the prince.
Shouting in disbelief, Nick accuses Tara of insolence for seemingly threatening the prince's royal position.
Kyle notes that Tara aims to prove herself and grant him a chance to use her.
Looking back at the estate, Kyle finds Tara's clever use of metaphors to be genuinely charming.
Guards and horses gather at the grand gates as the prince prepares for his departure.
A sudden rhythmic tuk-tuk sounds as Kyle and Nick ride through the city towards the castle.
Nick comments on Tara seeming strangely familiar, even though he has never encountered her before.
Kyle decides to observe Tara further, riding past the common folk with a detached air. Determined to crush her arrogance, Kyle orders himself placed on the exam's judging panel. Inside the Elias Manor, the family discusses Logan's absence due to his military school graduation.
A blonde woman yells about the unfairness, but the butler cites the master's absolute order.
Tara and her sister sit in tense silence, the weight of the family's situation heavy between them. Niels reports back to Tara, explaining that many talented people follow the charismatic gang leader. Recounting his meeting, Niels demonstrates the specific laugh Kyle ordered him to deliver to Tara.
When Niels calls the prince generous, a frustrated Tara declares him absolutely hateful.
A sudden loud creak sounds as the doors swing open and Lloyd Elias enters the Sigmund room.
A sudden sharp tap sounds as Tara realizes why the prince set today's deadline.
Victoria smiles serenely, deciding to answer the head of the house last during the interrogation. Tara nervously contemplates the prince's warning, realizing an enemy of royalty lurks within her family. Trembling with anxiety, Tara wonders how she can possibly explain the prince's ominous parting words. Lloyd Elias looks down at his daughters, waiting for an explanation that Tara cannot provide. Victoria mentions Tara's private meeting with the prince, causing a sudden, shocked kaget sound from the others. Lloyd Elias slams the table and demands silence, calling the family's petty bickering a disgrace. Turning his stern attention to Arya, Lloyd Elias asks for her perspective on the situation. Arya suggests the prince is seeking a future crown princess, her delusion filling the tense room.
Suspicious of her sister's claims, Tara wonders what Arya truly knows about the second prince. A small, knife-wielding character glares alongside a stern warning against reposting the team's work.
With a sudden, sharp snap sounds, Chloe confidently presents her findings to the gathered Elias family. Lloyd Elias examines the official report, letting out an interested as he questions its origin.
Chloe explains that money made securing the ministry schedule easy, allowing her to track the prince's moves.
Lloyd questions if the task was too simple, given the ease with which Chloe obtained the information.
Chloe asserts that an official record is the most accurate way to determine the prince's true purpose.
Shouting in disbelief, the blonde son argues that anyone could have retrieved such a basic document.
Lloyd Elias settles the debate, officially declaring Chloe the winner over the other siblings' unclear results.
Reactions vary across the room as the siblings flinch or look on with confusion and resentment.
Lloyd gives Chloe priority over upcoming practice test questions as a reward for her successful investigation.
Lloyd turns his stern attention to Tara, questioning her lengthy but unproductive meeting with the prince.
With a sudden, clever smirk sounds, Lloyd wonders if Tara is hiding something she cannot share.
Letting out a sudden, defiant sound, Tara mockingly calls her father her mentor before leaving.
Tara clenches her fist in frustration, realizing her father will now be teaching all the siblings.
Lloyd laughs heartily as Tara stomps away, clearly amused by her fiery and disciple-like reaction.
Tara expresses her deep hatred for the men of this world while Lloyd sneakers behind her.
With a sudden morning chirp sounds, Tara begins a rigorous new training and intermittent fasting regimen.
Tara celebrates her sudden weight loss until Bernard panics when she nearly drops her heavy axe.
Bernard explains that Tara must focus on gaining muscle to replace the fat she is losing. Tara is visibly shocked when Bernard estimates it will take a full year to reach her goal.
Weary and exhausted, Tara sighs over her body's inability to resist the temptation of food.
Bernard notes that the intensity of a real battlefield would reduce her to skin and bone instantly. Snarling with exhaustion, Tara accuses Bernard of using their intense training as an excuse to kill her. Bernard remains calm, ordering Tara to pick up the axe and continue their relentless training session. Reports confirm that Tara achieved a perfect score on her history and economics exams under her new tutor.
With a sudden, formal salute sounds, a soldier reports on the neutral status of several noble families.
The soldier updates that both Duke Stuart and Count Elias have postponed their official responses.
3 individuals were reportedly sent away after being caught trying to access highly classified information.
2 remaining suspects, an attendant and a junior knight, are being closely monitored for suspicious activity.
A plan is formed to inconspicuously tip off the attendant to help the current situation progress.
The soldier watches his companion walk away, confused by the cryptic nature of the orders given.
A sudden loud creak sounds as a red-haired woman enters a busy administrative office to report.
With a sudden, sharp salute sounds, the woman explains she was sent because her master was busy. She presents a document regarding the second prince's sudden and worrying request for a military transfer.
The official examines the papers, noting that the information provided matches exactly what was paid for.
A sudden rhythmic step sounds as the red-haired woman departs, leaving the official with the document.
Back at the training grounds, Bernard instructs Tara on the proper form for lunging with her axe.
Tara questions the intensity of the workout, complaining about Bernard's persistent and annoying training style.
Shouting in annoyance, Tara corrects her trainer on her exact weight during their heated exchange.
Nearby, 2 people whisper about a useless knight who is destined to receive a cancellation notice.
Annoyed by the gossip, Tara turns to see who is speaking ill of her hardworking trainer.
With a sudden, silent nod sounds, Tara acknowledges a maid's summons to an urgent family meeting.
Tara watches Bernard walk away, troubled by the thought that he is already being dismissed.
Lloyd leads a family discussion about the similarities between the households that have chosen neutrality.
With a sudden, smooth slide sounds, a document from Kyle Amor requesting knight transfers is presented.
The family is stunned by the prince's blunt request as Lloyd asks for other houses' responses.
Lloyd summarizes the political landscape, noting who has joined the prince and who has remained silent.
Tara ponders the prince's sudden move, unable to recall such an event from the original novel.
The blonde son argues forcefully that the prince's arrogance justifies an immediate rejection of the request. He insists on following tradition, his anger flaring as he turns to challenge the family's hesitation.
Lloyd Elias ponders the shifting political support toward the second prince.
Victoria argues for continued neutrality to avoid being caught in the prince's discord. Tara questions the strategy as the family weighs the risks of choosing a side.
A sudden sharp slap sounds as Lloyd Elias decides to fulfill the prince's request. Logan warns that their multifaceted response could be perceived as mocking the second prince. Tara remains confident, framing their compliance as a simple response to the prince's request.
Smirking at the news, Kyle orders Walter to prepare the necessary paperwork for the Elias family.
Walter follows the prince, expressing concern over the inclusion of the Elias house in their orders.
Empress Vivian questions Joseph about Kyle's surprising decision to overlook the recent wine incident. Joseph describes Kyle as a black-hearted schemer who reports only to the Emperor.
Empress Vivian grips her chair in fury, viewing Kyle's use of his personal seal as a war declaration.
Shouting in anger, the Empress insists that tradition must be upheld regarding the throne.
Joseph reviews the Elias house's response, noting their continued support for the first prince.
Pleased by the Elias house's intelligence, Empress Vivian decides she must meet with them soon.
The Empress plans to assist the Elias descendants during the state examination for Franz's benefit. Maids attend to the Empress's gown as she prepares for her next strategic move.
Joseph formally accepts his mother's commands as the scene in the tea room concludes.
Back at training, Tara stretches while Peter works diligently with his heavy axe. Letting out a sudden, determined puff sound, Tara stands ready for her next exercise.
A maid rushes in gasping, delivering the shocking news that Bernard has been chased out.
With a sudden, nervous fumble sounds, the maid presents a secret message to her mistress.
Tara and Peter react with a sudden, stunned gasp as they read the message's contents.
Dropping the paper, Tara wonders if the anticipated events have been moved up ahead of schedule.
Peter explains that Bernard struck a superior officer, leaving Tara completely bewildered by the news.
Lloyd Elias receives a detailed report regarding the merging of knights and necessary supplies.
Lloyd is surprised by the speed at which the proposals were accepted by the various houses.
A sudden rhythmic top sounds as Lloyd notes the second prince's significant trust within the palace.
Lloyd orders knight recruitment across the territories, his pen scrawling a sudden, busy scritch sound. The butler is stunned by Lloyd's decision to give Tara a mine for her own use. Lloyd Elias offers a rare, satisfied smile as his plans for the family continue. Lloyd dismisses the butler's judgment, insisting Tara needs resources to fight back effectively.
He reminds the butler to pay the gift tax, wanting no legal trouble for Tara.
The butler reflects on how much the master has changed since the young lady woke up.
A carriage travels through the city as the maid questions Tara's decision to go alone.
Tara explains that Bernard doesn't want to be seen by familiar faces during his departure.
As rain begins to fall, Tara decides to run to their destination to avoid attention.
Beth whispers that Peter looks too weak to protect them, much to the boys' annoyance. A sudden, heavy clunk sounds as the carriage lurches violently, interrupting Beth's teasing of Peter.
Beth screams for help as Tara is tossed around by the sudden, violent swung of the carriage.
Peter pants with exertion while grabbing Tara's hand to steady her during the accident.
Tara reassures Beth as Peter decides to go out into the storm to check the damage. Peter jumps out of the carriage as the rain comes down in a heavy pouring torrent. The carriage wheel is stuck in a hole, leaving the group stranded in the mud. Peter peeks back in to report that they must alight due to the ruined wheel. Beth shivers in terror, clutching Tara as she dreads going out into the soaking rain. A sudden, heavy dwang sounds as the trio stands drenched and miserable in the street. A sudden, loud duboon sounds as other drivers shout about the blocked and narrow street. With a sudden, determined slide sounds, Tara pushes up her sleeves to take matters into her hands. The driver shouts in shock as Tara grabs the muddy wheel to lift the carriage. Ignoring the driver's protests, Tara orders him to rein in the horses while she works. Everyone heaves together, their combined effort punctuated by a sudden, sharp whinny sounding as they lift the carriage.
Prince Kyle watches the struggle from a distance and orders his subordinate to report the accident.
Smirking, the prince notes Tara's pitiful effort before deciding to depart and leave them to their work. Seeing the royal walk away, Tara calls out to his retreating back as he shelters under an umbrella. Tara and the prince worked side by side, their movements synchronized as they prepare to heave once more. With a sudden, heavy clunk sounding, the carriage wheel is finally freed from the deep, muddy hole. The carriage swings back into position with a sudden, forceful swing sound as they complete the difficult task. Exhausted and drenched, Tara collapses onto the wet ground while the others stand around the righted carriage. Tara feigns unconsciousness, overwhelmed by the sheer embarrassment of her public fainting spell and the prince's presence. Feeling the carriage's movement, Tara realizes she has been carried inside and worries about how to face them.
Startled, Tara sits up abruptly when the prince realizes she has been awake and fidgeting the whole time.
Inside the carriage, the prince smirks while questioning why she is using a hired carriage in such a place. Hiding his face behind a document, the prince warns Tara about the dangers of catching a cold while traveling. Wrapped in a blanket, Tara wonders if the prince's cryptic words are actually a sign of genuine concern. Tara offers her sincere gratitude to the prince for his unexpected assistance during the storm and the accident. The prince's hand freezes as he suggests Tara's gratitude should manifest as something more substantial than mere words.
Sulking in the corner, Tara questions the prince's request after she had already thanked him multiple times. Smirking, the prince challenges Tara's definition of gratitude, expecting a gift that matches the weight of his help.
Tara explains her financial limits as the prince suddenly shifts focus to her business at the Knights Guild. Shrugging off his initial skepticism, the prince offers to listen to Tara's explanation since he has free time. Tara contemplates the situation, deciding to use this unexpected audience to better understand the prince's true nature. Outlining the seriousness of her visit, Tara reveals the topic concerns the fate of her personal knight, Bernard. The prince questions why Tara is wasting time on a dismissed guard instead of preparing for her exams. Letting out a sudden, weary sigh sounding, the prince expresses his deep disappointment in her current priorities. Taken aback, Tara asks for clarification on what exactly has disappointed the royal regarding her recent choices. Tara defends her commitment to Bernard, insisting that his loyalty is worth the significant time investment she made. Shrugging off his skepticism, Tara notes that 2 months of training has built a bond worth protecting. Fixing her gaze on the prince, Tara boldly asks if he is truly curious about her next move.
Tara prepares to depart, her confidence restored as she faces the prince one last time before leaving.
The prince scoffs at her limited gratitude as Tara turns to exit the carriage and face the rain. Looking back at Tara, the prince questions her ability to prevent the same troubles from happening again. Resolute, Tara vows to keep Bernard by her side despite the risks and the prince's lingering doubts. The prince dismisses her with a final question as Tara confirms she is ready to leave the carriage. Sulking as she watches the carriage depart, Tara feels as though she has somehow lost their verbal exchange. At a tavern, Tara addresses a man, asking if he will testify publicly regarding her recent investigation. With a sudden, heavy slam sounding, the man reacts with shock at the danger of Tara's bold request.
Tara emphasizes her need for power and evidence to support a public testimony effectively against their enemies. In a wine cellar, Andrea questions Tara's ability to support an arms bidding that will cause a stir.
Andrea doubts the necessity of the investigation, but Tara insists on knowing the problems ahead of time. Andrea demands 90 gold pieces for the information, leaving Tara visibly distressed by the high cost of knowledge.
Laughing, Andrea clarifies she isn't just becoming wealthy, but is actually getting even richer from their dealings.
Standing up, Tara agrees to start the mission in 2 days, predicting her body will be incredibly sore. Back home, Tara sighs over her lack of funds after Prince Kyle's earlier financial maneuvers drained her. Tara approaches her father to ask for a favor, despite the pressure of her upcoming state examinations. Lloyd sits with Tara, instructing his assistant Dylan to present some important documents to her first.
With a sudden, smooth slide sounding, Dylan presents an account containing 5,000 gold and a platinum mine.
Lloyd explains the conditions for accessing the account and the massive potential of the gifted platinum mine.
Letting out a sudden, heavy gulp sounding, Tara remembers the mine's true hidden value from the original novel.
Lloyd asks if there is anything else Tara wants to know as she clutches her new documents nervously. Despite the fortune just gifted, Tara sheepishly asks for 90 gold in advance to pay her information broker.
Thinking deeply, the red-haired Tara ponders the official family registry received from Sir Andrea. Radiating excitement, Tara holds up a small note intended for the mysterious Arya.
Under the moonlit sky, Tara meets with the reluctant brown-haired Chloe by the garden fountain.
Chloe yells insults at Tara, who casually dismisses the girl's outbursts with a smirk. Tara proposes a trade, information about Prince Kyle for Chloe's knowledge of future humiliations.
Letting out a sudden, piercing shriek, Chloe refuses to divulge any secrets regarding the prince.
Tara adds a humiliating condition, demanding Chloe address her as sister during their deal.
The scene shifts to a grand building where students gather for a crucial examination. Entering the hall, Tara feels a sudden, nervous chill, comparing the atmosphere to the SATs.
Rows of students work diligently at their desks during the high-stakes state examination.
Back at the tea room, Tara discusses her strategic plans with Lloyd and his assistant. Tara explains her calculated trick of sending soldiers to every prince to maintain family neutrality. With a sudden, loud smack sounding, Lloyd realizes this gives Prince Kyle a tactical advantage. Tilting his head, the assistant notes the financial benefits of the prince's military request. Lloyd realizes the family's loss would be the variable caused by the second prince's influence. The brown-haired assistant questions why the soldiers should be considered the primary variable. Discussion shifts to the prestigious Knight Guild commanded by the prince, known across the empire. They discuss the guild's impossibly high selection standards that most knights could never hope to meet. The assistant wonders if the trained soldiers will ultimately choose to follow the prince voluntarily. Lloyd's fingers produce a sudden, rhythmic top sounding as he worries about the family's public image. They consider the potential political issues if their neutrality is perceived as a bias for Kyle. Sipping her tea, Tara suggests sending even more soldiers to the other princes to counter control.
Lloyd looks on with a mix of surprise and pride at Tara's bold tactical suggestions.
Turning the conversation, Lloyd asks for Tara's advice on how to handle the formidable Empress Vivian. The group remains locked in deep conversation regarding the complex political landscape of the palace.
Tara reflects on the immense power held by Empress Vivian and her influential Toulouse family.
She predicts the Empress will question their intentions, just as Prince Kyle recently did. Fixing her gaze forward, Tara boldly suggests they must pretend to be politically useless.
Tara explains they must act stupid to convince others their family is not an important threat.
Lloyd wonders if they can simply repeat the same strategy they used with the second prince. Tara warns that such a move would make the prideful Empress an instant, dangerous enemy. The assistant agrees that the young lady's deceptive plan is a very wise course of action. Letting out a sudden, mocking haw sounding, Lloyd admits he once played the idiot successfully himself. Lloyd produces a sudden low keek sounding as he cringes at the script's embarrassing lines. Tara reviews the second item of the scenario with the assistant while Lloyd looks on skeptically. Shaking her father's shoulders, Tara's hands create a sudden, frantic shake sound as she insists.
Dismissing their worries, Tara bows and assures them the interview is merely a formality.
Standing alone, Tara worries that the upcoming interview will actually be unusually and dangerously difficult.
With a sudden, startling bang sounding, Chloe bursts into the dressing room where Beth attends Ton.
Letting out a sudden, angry shriek, Chloe demands her information back after feeling cheated by Tara. Tara laughs off the threat, reminding Chloe of her frequent private meetings with the prince. She manipulates Chloe into helping her by promising more chances to meet with Prince Kyle. With a sudden, dramatic swish sounding, Chloe storms out while daring Tara to fail the exam. Tara reassures the worried Beth that their private insults do not constitute a crime of contempt.
The maid Beth remains cautious, warning her mistress to stay careful during the coming events.
Walking toward the exit, Tara's heavy boots hit the floor with a sudden, determined footstep sounding. Beth is shocked to find Tara wearing training pants under her formal dress for the occasion. A door produces a sudden, sharp creak sounding as Tara prepares to face her public embarrassment. A whimsical illustration of a sleeping unicorn marks a brief transition in the narrative flow. The scene opens on the Grand Imperial Palace, signaling that the day's political moves are settled. Sitting on the couch, Tara worries about her recurring nightmare of falling into a swamp. Inside her dream, Tara looks up from the ground, reflecting on the Elias family's fate. She observes shadowy figures, criticizing her family's inability to stand behind the correct power source.
Tara clings desperately to a man's leg, feeling the weight of her family's imminent failure.
The dream ends with a dark premonition that her family will be the first eliminated. Awakening from the vivid nightmare, Tara is startled as the brown-haired Beth calls out to her. A sudden, sharp flinch sounding, Tara mumbles about protection while Beth questions her deep thoughts. Outside, a line of carriages creates a commotion as passengers are told to disembark quickly. The scene shifts to the Grand Imperial Palace, where students gather for a crucial administrative exam. Stunned by the palace's opulence, the red-haired Tara gawks with wide eyes and an open mouth. A man mocks Tara to the brown-haired Logan, comparing the solid lady to a sheep. A green-haired man scolds the group's rudeness while Logan accepts the insincere apology with annoyance. The light brown-haired Logan Elias is praised for his broad-mindedness as he turns away from them. Sensing their mockery, Tara fixes a sharp, suspicious look back at the brown-haired Logan and his group.
Tara brushes off the insults, focusing instead on her plan to find a specific person.
As the exam begins, Tara realizes this round in the Osiria Chronicles will be uniquely complicated.
The examiner announces the 3-round structure, noting that 20% will be eliminated in round 1.
A sudden, resonant dawn sounding. The examiner uses a staff to signal the start of proceedings.
The crowd erupts into noisy murmurs regarding the lack of notice and the high elimination rate.
Letting out a weary exhale sounding, Tara prepares for her group placement in the exam room.
Tara searches her memory for the name of a candidate famous for passing this specific interview.
Letting out a low, frustrated groan sounding, Tara realizes she must find that person among the candidates.
A blonde man mocks Tara's composure while her pink-haired brother calls her a family disgrace.
The pink-haired Rowan fumes, demanding Tara be humiliated for accepting the valuable platinum mind gift. Sensing their plotting, Tara ignores the fiery glares from the blonde man and her brother Rowan. Nearby candidates gossip about Tara's immature reputation and how she managed to pass the written exam.
Tara feels incredibly pissed off as she realizes others attribute her success to the Empress's schemes.
The blonde first prince, Francis Amore, encourages the candidates to be themselves as the interview begins. Prince Francis calls upon the pink-haired Lord Rowan to begin his testimony for the examiners.
A sudden quick-sounding Prince Francis asks an orange-haired candidate about his desired ministry.
With a determined look, Tara declares her intention to work in the Ministry of Public Security.
The candidates whisper insults, mocking Tara's physical condition and her fitness for a security role. A sudden, sharp bang sounding. An official demands to know if Tara understands the ministry's role.
Laughing, Prince Francis mocks the Elias family's choice while praising the quality of their soldiers.
Clenching her fists, Tara fumes as the officials prevent her from defending her career choice.
Resolving to stick to her path, Tara prepares to face the Ministry of Public Security regardless.
A credits page features illustrations of the main characters and the scanlation team's details.
Tara reflects on why public security is the best workplace to monitor conspiracies and Prince Kyle. Angered by the prince's laughter, Tara realizes she has passed the first exam despite the mockery.
A sudden, light whoosh sounding. Tara sees her name on the list while candidates glare at her.
In a grand office, Prince Kyle wipes his sword while his subordinates report to him nervously. A man stiffens as he delivers an invitation from His Majesty, fearing the consequences of refusal.
He trembles while imagining his punishment, running in a jester's costume before the Maidstorm.
A sudden, sharp kneel sounding, the man begs Prince Kyle to save him from humiliating training.
A gray-haired knight stands watch over 3 days as Prince Kyle works and examines a chest.
The man desperately prays for his marriage prospects, fearing that jester training will ruin his reputation. Rising from his desk, Prince Kyle prepares to meet the old man having fun with these schemes. The subordinate follows Kyle out the door, praising the prince as his hero and light.
Prince Kyle walks through a magnificent hall, commanding attention from everyone as he moves forward.
A sudden, rhythmic step sounding, Kyle Amore approaches a grand door while the guards react with shock. A sudden, low bow sounding, Kyle Amore formally greets King Louis Amore in the palace. King Louis, the empire's long-reigning sovereign, commands the brown-haired prince to approach him more closely. Background officials whisper about Kyle's arrogant choice to refer to himself only as a personage.
Observers note the striking visual resemblance between the young prince and the aging King Louis.
The butler reminds the king that it has been 6 months since Kyle's last audience.
Kyle explains his absence through border conflicts while the king questions his missed social obligations.
Raising his voice, King Louis demands to know why Kyle skipped the national anniversary banquet. Resting comfortably, Kyle claims he was preoccupied with personal business at the Ministry of Security. The king demands a specific explanation for choosing a private matter over a royal order. Exploding in anger, King Louis warns Kyle that his continued defiance will make life difficult. A sudden, loud shout sounding, the king rages while the prince's purple-haired subordinate trembles with fear.
Kyle mentions a secret club in Hammond, causing the panicked king to order a private meeting.
Overwhelmed by a sudden heavy headache sounding, the king regrets letting his past secrets remain vulnerable.
The butler is baffled by Kyle's knowledge of the king's illegal chess gambling during the investigation.
Feeling dejected, the king mourns his failed disguises as Kyle threatens to reveal his hobby publicly.
Kyle mocks the king's lack of political favor while considering whether to expose his secret life.
Changing the subject, the prince asks why he was summoned as the king orders a report.
Kyle reviews documents regarding Alina Stewart, the young daughter of a marquis, with a focused gaze.
The king suggests using the girl to win over her powerful family's many talented subordinates.
A sudden, sharp slam sounding. Kyle rejects the unethical idea of marrying a 13-year-old child.
Maintaining his morals, Kyle performs a sudden, polite bow, sounding and takes his leave immediately. King Louis accuses the prince of gathering power while Kyle exits without another word.
The prince glances back with a cold look, leaving the king stunned by his bold departure.
Rejecting an offer of wine, Kyle departs the palace for a mysterious and urgent second appointment. A sudden, smooth pour sounding, wine fills a glass as discussion turns toward the late emperor. Drinking deeply, the king reflects on how the aristocrats eventually abandoned him for the elder son. Letting out a sudden, weary sigh, sounding, the king dismisses his butler to seek some rest. Walking outside, Kyle promises his subordinate he will flatten Tara's nose during the upcoming exam.
Smirking, Kyle prepares to observe the Ministry of Public Security training to test the lady's limits.
A sudden, noisy chatter sounding. Candidates gather as Tara worries about the mysterious second exam round. Tommy Robbie, a vocal lackey for the prince's rivals, shouts loudly to gain the group's attention. The men discuss exam fairness and bribes while the red-haired Tara listens carefully from the side.
Sam Maddox suggests that any woman seeking a security role must compete fairly without special treatment.
Stepping forward, Tara boldly announces her application for the Ministry of National Security to the crowd. A sudden low rumble sounding, the candidates mock Tara's mental state and her family's poor reputation.
A light brown-haired woman argues that physical differences make women unfit for difficult male-dominated security roles.
The crowd laughs as the men insist women should stay in roles designated for their physiques. Tara remains calm, internally noting that she only needed their insults to properly escalate her anger. An official tries to end the delay, suggesting Tara transfer to a more appropriate inner department. Defiant, Tara refuses to be disgraced while representing the honor of the Elias noble household. She insists on proving she is a recognized family member, not a politically useless black sheep. The crowd continues to whisper cruel rumors about Tara's supposed speech disorder and mental stability.
Tara demands a formal apology for the verbal abuse and mockery directed at her noble status.
Dismissing an insincere apology, Tara warns that words carry power and cause wounds that words alone cannot heal. A sudden, sharp flinch sounding, Sam reacts as Tara demands a humiliating, historical Tarquin's apology from him. Narrative history explains the apology as a total submission where one must kneel publicly for forgiveness. A sudden, fierce shout sounding, Sam protests the request until Tara offers a high-stakes performance bet. Tara beams with confidence, daring her detractors to accept her terms for the coming practical exam. A sudden, low mumble sounding, the crowd wonders where the lady gets such immense, reckless confidence. Sam accepts the challenge, warning Tara she must pay a high price if her scores fail. Blonde-haired Logan Elias speaks to the candidates about following imperial orders with accuracy. Thinking to herself, the red-haired Tara wonders if Hans Button is actually trying to help her. An official directs the candidates to change into athletic gear for the physical fitness examination. Tara recalls a passage describing Hans Benedict as a future influential figure of the Empire. Narrative text reveals that Hans is a cunning sociopath whom the author enjoyed writing about. Hans gives a subtle nod as he walks past the increasingly anxious and pensive Tara. Tara feels frustrated upon discovering that the provided uniforms are too small for her physique. A sudden heavy thud sounding, Tara emerges confidently wearing a practical uniform she brought herself.
Observing the workout stations, Tara listens to a muscular man's advice to prioritize the heavy weights.
A sudden bright fire sounding, Tara powers through her weightlifting sets with immense focused determination. Smirking, Tara feels certain that she will force her detractors to give her a formal apology. A blonde woman in an orange gown approaches Tara, questioning her stubborn choice of department. Tara asks if she is worried, but the woman fears Tara will disgrace their noble house. A sudden, quick stride sounding, Tara walks away happily as her sister freezes in total shock. Turning back with a shout, the sister demands Tara stop acting like everything is normal. A sudden rhythmic step sounding, the sister follows Tara while other candidates watch the confrontation.
The sister recalls their brother's death and calls Tara's current attitude toward the family repulsive.
Maintaining a cold profile, the sister accuses Tara of trying to steal their hard-earned status. Letting out a sudden, weary sigh sounding, Tara acknowledges her past mistakes but asks for trust.
Looking down at her sister, the blonde woman demands Tara never disgrace the Elias now.
An official with a clipboard carefully records Tara's physical performance on the sunny training field.
A sudden, loud whoosh sounding, a sweaty Tara finishes her sprint while the other candidates cheer. A sudden, heavy clock sounding, 2 knights arrive as the crowd discusses Tara's incredible sit-up record.
Candidates realize with shock that Tara is on track to win her high-stakes performance bet.
A sudden, low groan sounding, a knight scolds his companion for missing Tara's impressive display.
Observers admit that Tara Elias is performing far beyond what her reputation and appearance suggested. The brown-haired Prince Kyle asks his subordinate about the specific sit-up count Tara managed. Nick reports that Tara did 60 sit-ups, leaving his superior stunned by her unexpected stamina.
An official announces the end of the second round and gives the candidates time to rest.
Nick presents Tara's final stats to Prince Kyle, who heads toward the large meeting chamber.
Kyle notes that Sam Maddock, the man targeting Tara, comes from a family supplying House Elias.
Kyle considers the political implications of Sam's attack while reviewing the families involved in the exam.
A sudden, quick S-esque sounding, Kyle orders Nick to investigate Sam Maddock before the final round.
Logan Elias watches the murmuring crowd as rumors spread about the Elias family's internal struggles. The examiner announces the average scores and confirms that no one was eliminated this round.
A sudden, loud woo sounding. The crowd gasps at Tara's exceptional score of 347. Confident, Tara reminds a flustered candidate of their appointment for his formal public apology.
The scene shifts to the grand interview hall where the final round is set to begin. Looking toward the stage, Tara notices an empty chair and wonders who the final examiner is. Prince Kyle enters the hall, causing widespread shock as Tara stares at him in complete disbelief.
A sudden, quick top sounding, Kyle smirks at Tara, who finally realizes his true royal identity.
Tara realizes Kyle is participating as an examiner solely because of their previous intense encounter. A sudden, swift swoop sounding, Nick whispers details about Tara's rivals being House Elias's suppliers.
Kyle realizes that Jason Elias is mismanaging the family business, making them a lost cause.
A sudden, sharp twitch sounding, Kyle reacts coldly as Nick jokes about his relationship with Tara. Kyle's expression softens into a subtle, knowing smile while reflecting on the information he just received. Nick is confused by the prince's calm smile after he previously seemed so incredibly angry. Kyle acknowledges Tara's independence while Nick questions why he needed to gather so much intel. Kyle explains that his mission is to weed out dishonorable candidates during his temporary absence. Saluting with gratitude, Nick watches as Kyle prepares to take his seat at the examiner's table. The blonde-mustached man looks shocked as his butler delivers troubling news in the parlor.
A sudden, sharp slam sounding, he strikes the table, furious that anyone would betray his family.
Learning Jason is responsible, the blonde-mustached man's eyes narrow with intense, simmering rage. A sudden, loud shatter sounding, he screams in fury while wine spills across the floor.
Barking orders, the man demands his butler bring the culprits to him after the interview.
Letting out a sudden, heavy flop sounding, he collapses onto the sofa, lamenting Jason's stupidity.
He recalls the tea party where the empress and other noble ladies whispered behind him. Trying to be charming, the man laughs nervously as flowers bloom around his forced smile. Throughout the party, he gnaws his thumb, dozes off, and shakes under the empress's gaze. A sudden, quick dash sounding, he flees the party while the empress massages her aching head. The empress dismisses him coldly while a tiny Tara warns against falling into her schemes. A sudden, low dun sounding, the man's foolishness leaves the empress looking absolutely disgusted. Back in the present, he sighs, trying to justify his embarrassing behavior for his family's sake. A sudden, quiet tsk sounding. Tara worries Prince Kyle is trying to intimidate her as an interviewer. Recalling their past, Tara groans and flinches, desperately trying to forget her previous embarrassment. A sudden, small pout sounding, Prince Franz notes Kyle's unusual attendance while Kyle demands they begin. A sudden, elegant rise sounding, Prince Franz stands up to deliver the opening address. Tara scratches her head in boredom as the prince gives a long, tedious speech. Her eyes widen as she notices Prince Kyle staring directly at her from the stage. A sudden, sharp jolt sounding, Tara's competitiveness sparks as she wonders if Kyle is mocking her.
A light brown-haired man named Hans Button takes over the debate with a speech on benevolence.
Hans elaborates on historical merciless rulers, impressing the crowd with his deep knowledge. Observing Hans, Tara realizes he is dominating every subject and will surely win the round.
The two princes remain silent, causing the candidates to wonder why they aren't asking questions.
As other candidates volunteer, Tara realizes she is among the few who haven't spoken.
Tara checks on her siblings, noting that Logan has already answered difficult economics questions.
A sudden, firm raise sounding, Logan Elias speaks up about border supply lines and road maintenance.
Prince Kyle acknowledges Logan of House Elias, who performs a sudden, respectful swish-sounding bow.
Challenging Logan, Kyle mentions budget cuts while Tara calculates the massive imperial currency values. Prince Kyle leans over his desk, demanding a reason for the assembly to pass the bill.
Franz argues the burden is too great, but Kyle questions his brother's ability to handle it.
A sudden, heavy stare sounding, Kyle looks at Tara, who panics as she's put on the spot.
Kyle mentions a high-potential candidate, prompting a sweating Tara to try and hide. A sudden, fiery blaze sounding. Tara fumes as Kyle smirks and publicly addresses her. Kyle offers Tara a chance to speak on military matters since she applied for security.
Tara glares, suspecting Kyle is trying to humiliate her in front of the entire assembly. Trying to stay calm, Tara stalls for time by asking Kyle to repeat the question.
Silence fills the hall as everyone waits for Tara to give a coherent response.
Prince Franz mercifully suggests Tara doesn't need to answer if she doesn't have the insight.
Closing her eyes, Tara focuses intensely to piece together fragments of information from her memory. She recalls a moment spent researching documents in the quiet of the reference room.
A sudden, bright flash sounding, Tara realizes the gravity of the answer she is about to give.
Prince Kyle watches her expectantly, knowing she is capable of finding the correct solution.
Kyle suggests moving on, but the blonde-haired Logan insists on hearing the assembly plan.
Kyle smirks knowingly while the blonde Prince Franz looks on with confusion.
Franz admits his confusion regarding the political ramifications Kyle mentioned earlier.
Tara confidently announces she has spotted signs of upcoming events in the past year's newspapers.
Calculating the odds, Tara uses her knowledge of the Osirian Chronicles to reach an 80% certainty. Stepping forward, Tara boldly declares that a war with Scandoa is imminent.
A sudden, loud clamor sounding. The crowd erupts in shock as an official demands order.
Determined to gather intel, Tara requests several specific newspapers from a nearby attendant. Her research reveals a year of escalating diplomatic friction and conflict reports involving Scandoan interests. Observing from the stage, Kyle notes how Tara's rapid-fire judgments could prove either brilliant or fatal. While the blonde candidate expresses genuine admiration, another younger woman admits to being completely baffled.
Kyle clenches his jaw with a sudden low grind sounding, deducing Scandoa's aggressive war preparations.
A subtle, knowing smile touches Kyle's lips as he considers Tara's surprisingly sharp and intriguing intellect. A sudden, quick slide sounding, Kyle sends a document forward while acknowledging the message he received.
After the mental strain of the interview, Tara slumps forward, feeling completely and utterly drained.
A sudden, graceful turn sounding, Olive Benson shyly praises Tara and hopes for a future meeting.
Olive flees back to her giggling friends, leaving a bewildered Tara to suspect a prank. Tensions rise as candidates crowd around the board to see who passed the final round.
Furious, Tara reads her deployment to a dangerous war zone and curses Kyle's perceived cruelty.
Reflecting on her reincarnation, Tara laments her dangerous new assignment so far from the capital.
A sudden, heavy stomp sounding, Tara demands an immediate audience with Prince Kyle at his palace.
The guard insists she lacks an appointment, but Tara aggressively orders him to make one now.
A sudden, light scratch sounding, the guard reluctantly agrees to send word while Tara prepares to wait.
Inside his private chambers, a servant informs Prince Kyle of Tara's persistent demand for an audience.
Without hesitation, Kyle orders her sent in, much to his servant's silent surprise and obedience.
Descending the stairs, the guard marvels at how easily Tara gained access to the elusive prince.
Climbing toward her meeting, Tara nervously considers if her demands will be accepted by the prince.
Stealing her nerves, Tara pumps herself up, determined to succeed in this final critical confrontation.
Tara enters the grand room, meeting Kyle's gaze as he questions her sudden late-night visit.
Kyle demands privacy and tea, while Tara tries to ignore his intimidating and distracting mental games. A sudden swift wish sounding, the servants vanish instantly, leaving a startled Tara alone with Kyle. A sudden nervous swish sounding, Tara pretends she wasn't shocked, feigning total awareness of his command.
Seated for tea, Kyle admits he was careless for discussing state secrets in such a public forum.
Kyle challenges her conclusions, suggesting her judgment might be blurred by the current high-stakes situation.
A sudden rhythmic tap sounding, Tara listens as Kyle expresses surprise at her unexpected analytical actions.
Recalling her past life, Tara realizes her old scriptwriter habits are what made her analyze everything.
Doubting herself, Tara asks for confirmation on whether a war with Scandoa is truly unavoidable. Distracted by Kyle's looks, Tara maintains her composure and explains her 80% certainty of conflict.
A sudden, subtle falter sounding. Tara's hand shakes as Kyle asks what made her so sure.
Tara realizes Kyle's request for noble knights was a clever way to avoid infiltrated Skendo and spies.
A sudden, casual shrug sounding, Kyle explains it was Tara's responsibility to speak up for herself. Fuming, Tara realizes Kyle is one step ahead as he flatly rejects her unspoken request.
A sudden, forced beam sounding, Tara puts on a bright smile and begs for capital-based training.
Kyle tells a story about a resilient boy named Peter, using it to challenge Tara's resolve. Comparing her to the boy, Kyle asks if she is truly prepared to prove her worth.
Tara bristles with intense irritation as Kyle offers her a shameful way out of her assignment.
Staring into her tea, Tara knows she cannot quit with the fate of her family at stake. A sudden, deep inhale sounding, Tara reflects on her promises and her father's heavy expectations.
A sudden, heavy gulp sounding, Tara drinks while Kyle suppresses a laugh at her stubborn intensity.
A sudden, sharp clink sounding, Tara begins to speak as Kyle watches her with mild curiosity.
A sudden, loud thunk sounding, Kyle places a bag of gold down and denies her reassignment.
A sudden, quick snatch sounding, Tara grabs the bag while Kyle dismisses her from his presence.
A sudden, elegant rise sounding, Kyle stands as Tara marches toward the door in a huff.
A sudden, soft reach sounding, Kyle wishes her luck at the border, leaving Tara momentarily stunned. A sudden, quiet click sounding, Kyle watches her leave and muses on how much she has changed.
As the night deepens, Kyle gives the order to depart immediately for their secret mission.
A sudden, soft doze sounding, an exhausted Tara drifts to sleep while worrying about her new post.
Tara's peaceful sleep is broken by a sudden, quick swish and jolt sounding as she wakes.
Spreading a letter near her door, Tara wonders what the mysterious envelope contains.
Reading Andre's mocking message, the chibi-styled Tara shudders as she realizes his mind is truly gone.
A sudden, quiet sit sounding, Tara reviews her new documents and finds the information truly impressive.
In a grand display, Tara stands tall while a nobleman kneels before a crowd to apologize. A sudden, low murmur sounding, the crowd watches in disbelief as the high-ranking man grovels.
A sudden, light lift sounding, Tara begins a metaphorical story about a hunter and his dogs.
Following Tara's lead, the man performs a sudden, deep bow, sounding of absolute submission.
Tara's tale takes a dark turn as she describes the hunter's cold hunger in the woods. The man freezes as Tara reveals the hunter heartlessly ate his own loyal hunting dogs.
Accepting the apology, Tara gives him a sudden, soft pat, sounding while questioning his future loyalty.
Laughing triumphantly, Tara walks away while cryptically mentioning she has plans for the hunter as well.
Walking toward the stairs, the brown-haired maid marvels at the sight of the nobleman's public humiliation.
Though the maid suggests rest, Tara insists she still has business to settle with Jason.
With a sudden, firm clasp sounding, Tara reassures her maid that the prince's actions provided opportunity. A sudden, fiery blaze sounding, Tara fumes over the prince's blatant attempt to take her down. Regaining her composure, Tara orders pomegranate tea for her father and summons a specific person.
Discussing the tea's medicinal benefits, the maid confirms Lord Bernard is already on his way.
Tara clarifies the drink is for her father, sensing the maid thinks it is too early. Lord Bernard arrives, looking so transformed in his uniform that the maid barely recognizes him.
Bernard praises Tara's high scores and her shocking public demand for the Taltine apology.
Tara declares her new rank and asks Bernard if he will finally vow fealty to her.
A sudden, low whisper sounding, Tara leans in to discuss their private plans for later.
A sudden, thunderous gallop sounding, a group of cloaked riders travels across the dark plains.
Rummaging through documents, the riders discuss finding a specific target before he dies. A local patrolman performs a sudden, respectful kneel sounding, reporting the target is at a bar.
A sudden, sharp rattle sounding, the cloaked figures enter a tavern under the bartender's watchful eye.
Entering the crowded room, the group ignores the host's suggestion and demands a specific table. At the table, a red-haired man probes a scarred mercenary for details on an undercover job. The red-haired man pretends to be a novice, asking about the rates for shady, night-led jobs.
A sudden, shaky hiccup sounding, the mercenary recalls the cruelty of a man who gave him nightmares.
With a sudden, silent glance and nod sounding, the cloaked followers observe the exchange carefully. A sudden, quiet snicker sounding, the mercenary admits the gold was worth the psychological trauma.
The mercenary vividly recalls a blood-soaked survivor with a vicious, unforgettable look in his eyes.
Taking a sudden, heavy glug sounding, the mercenary explains that hiring happens only once per person.
Dismissing the gloom, the mercenary suggests finding girls instead of remembering the swordrunner's name.
Looming over him, the cloaked figure demands the name while the mercenary stammers in fear.
Back at the office, Tara's father and the blonde Jason stand amidst scattered papers.
Jason lashes out at Tara, calling her presence revolting and mocking her public apology demand.
Defending his pride, Jason claims he was only teaching Tara manners to avoid family humiliation.
Furious, Jason yells that a noblewoman joining the military is a direct insult to their house.
A sudden, loud yell sounding, the father silences Jason's rant, ending his tirade immediately.
With a sudden, heavy sigh sounding, the father accepts Tara's explanation and her new post.
Jason persists, arguing that her stationing at the Durban Tri-Point shames the Elias name.
Tara counters, stating that she will work from the bottom to fulfill Brandon's dream.
Her father questions why she brought her knight, Bernard, along for this late-night visit.
Jason scoffs at the trivial matter, but Tara insists firing Bernard was the actual trigger. Watching from the side, Bernard realizes Tara is about to begin her complicated explanation.
Tara explains Heinrich's law, stating that minor accidents always precede major catastrophic events.
With intense focus, Tara prepares to build her argument toward a grand, undeniable finale.
Suddenly, a firm hand grabs the scarred mercenary's wrist, interrupting his loud, drunken chatter.
Held down by the cloaked figures, the mercenary screams in pain as they demand a name.
A sudden, sharp whoop sounding, the red-haired leader's memories clash with the mercenary's terrified, bloodshot gaze.
The red-haired leader orders the mercenary taken to the Gallandor base for a brutal, exhaustive interrogation. In the office, Tara presents evidence of corruption regarding night supplies and Bernard's terminated contract. A sudden, loud burst sounding. Jason slams his hand down while blaming Bernard for insubordination.
Tara ignores his outburst, pointing to the documents revealing a nationwide failure to renew nightly contracts.
A sudden, heavy thud sounding, Tara drops ledgers, exposing the systematic theft of the soldiers' wages.
Jason freezes as Tara reveals the luxury properties owned by his co-conspirators over 3 years. A sudden, sharp whip sounding, Tara exposes the borrowed name accounts used to launder the stolen funds. Their father reads the list of names, his expression darkening with every fraudulent entry found. Tara reveals the identities belong to dead children, leaving a sweating Jason with no viable defense.
A sudden, angry crumple sounding, the father silences Jason and demands to be addressed formally.
A sudden, weary droop sounding, Jason wilts as his father grants him one final, terrifying chance.
Watching her father's rage, Tara realizes this is Jason's last opportunity to avoid total ruin.
The father summons his entire legal team and the Knight Commander to settle the matter.
The room fills with officials as they discuss the evidence of House Philippe's blatant embezzlement. The Knight Commander requests authorization for a full-scale inspection of the region's armories and troops.
A sudden, tight clench sounding, Tara feels relief as her father acknowledges the gravity of her findings.
Jason remains slumped against the wall, knowing he is confined to his residence until the final verdict.
The father orders strict confidentiality, determined to protect the house from the shame of this scandal.
Walking down the hallway, Bernard expresses his concern, but Tara remains focused on her family's safety.
A sudden, light step sounding, Tara playfully asks if Bernard is finally ready to vow his fealty.
Bernard surprises her by agreeing to the pledge and promising to depart with her tomorrow.
A sudden, quick turn sounding, Tara beams with joy as Bernard insists on a formal ceremony.
Tara promises to be a worthy master while Bernard vows his unwavering loyalty to her.
A sudden, weary sigh sounding, Bernard rubs his head as Tara vows to make him a general.
Despite Jason's potential revenge, Tara prepares to visit the central bank and meet with Andre. Walking through the city, Beth worries often about indecency, but Tara remains indifferent to public opinion.
Outside the bank, Tara reads the latest news despite Beth's concern that she might trip. A sudden, low murmur sounding, Tara ignores the crowd's whispers while reading about the prince's agenda.
Beth encourages Tara to think positively as they walk away from the judging eyes of the public.
Entering the boutique, Tara and Beth are immediately met with the judgmental stares of noblewomen.
A sudden sharp halt sounding, a noblewoman mockingly suggests the shop lacks sizes to fit Tara.
A sudden cruel snicker sounding, the women laugh about custom corsets as Tara remains perfectly calm. Tara, unfazed, dismisses their shallow insults as empty words from people who value only appearances. A sudden, firm step sounding, Tara ignores the nobles and continues toward her objective upstairs.
Looking back, Tara tells the women they are merely extras in someone else's much larger story. With a confident smile, Tara leads Beth away, leaving the stunned noblewomen far behind them.
Under the evening sky, Bernard kneels before Tara to officially pledge his life and sword.
Tara swears a solemn oath to remain faithful to her knight until death parts them. Watching him, Tara feels a surge of pride, certain Bernard Smith will one day be a general.
Elsewhere, Prince Kyle practices archery while haunted by a recurring dream from 5 months ago.
He recalls a horrific night 12 years ago, filled with fire, blood, and a tragic parting.
A sudden sharp twang sounding, Kyle shoots his arrow, longing for the woman in his dreams.
A sudden, respectful bow sounding, a scout reports finding a witness from the Knights Guild.
A sudden metallic clink sounding, Kyle retrieves more arrows while demanding the scout's full report. A sudden steady pull sounding, Kyle listens as the scout describes a mercenary army's secret history. A sudden, clean shunk sounding, Kyle hits the target as he learns of the mercenaries' 5th mission.
The scout details the band's cruelty, from destroying villages to the slaughter of an illegitimate child's house.
A sudden, sharp clock sounding, Prince Kyle questions the identity of the mysterious mercenary army. Kyle orders a deeper investigation into the mercenaries while receiving news about visiting southern nobles.
Walking through the palace, Kyle schedules a noon meeting for the following day with his scout.
Narrowing his eyes, Kyle focuses his thoughts on the cursed ones and his desire for revenge.
Tara studies a book on the Empire's war with Scandoa, recalling the details of the conflict. Reading a newspaper article, Tara notes Lady T's theory on the recurring war while checking budgets.
A sudden, startled gasp sounding, Tara's mother worries about her daughter's dangerous new military assignment.
Fuming internally, Tara reassures her mother that she can earn a transfer back home within months.
A sudden, gentle stroke sounding, the mother expresses her wish for Tara to lead an easy life.
A sudden, firm clasp sounding, Tara insists she must do something meaningful with her life. Holding her mother's hands, Tara asks for support in her ultimate goal to lead the house.
A sudden, stifled choke sounding, Tara resolves to enter the palace to uncover those conspiring against her.
A sudden, warm hug sounding, the mother tearfully acknowledges that her young daughter is finally grown.
A sudden, loud wail sounding, the maids are moved to tears by the touching mother-daughter moment.
A sudden, polite ahem sounding, Beth informs Tara that the Count requires her presence at breakfast.
Despite her mother's visible sweat and worry, Tara insists she cannot avoid her father forever.
The entire family gathers for breakfast as the father reflects on his shattered dreams for House Elias.
The father admits he is worried because his children exceeded his expectations by passing the exams. He commands his children to remain neutral and focus only on work while at the palace.
The father suggests Tara skip the military post, citing Logan's new role in the security ministry.
Tara stands her ground, declaring she will not give up on her chosen path so easily.
A sudden, mocking humph sounding, an older blonde noblewoman insults Tara's physique and family honor.
Chloe intervenes, stating the family should respect Tara's decision to take the military job.
Tara is surprised by the support and wonders if Chloe is actually siding with her.
Tara asks for her father's time after supper, and he invites her to his office later.
A sudden, angry yell sounding, the father silences Jason and gives his night oversight job to Logan.
A sudden, shocked gasp sounding, Jason reels from the humiliation as Logan accepts the new role. A sudden, heavy pause sounding, Chloe tells Tara she deserved the earlier humiliation during the interview. Chloe stares intensely at Tara with a serious and unreadable expression. Tara looks confused as Chloe suddenly asks if she should offer an apology.
Chloe hands over a blue eagle emblem, suggesting it might be useful during Tara's stay in Durban.
A sudden, quick turn sounding, Chloe dismisses Tara's thanks and leaves the room with a cold demeanor.
A sudden, loud gasp sounding, Beth is shocked that Tara doesn't recognize the prestigious blue eagle emblem.
A sudden, joyful squeal sounding, the maids celebrate the high-status gift while Tara laughs it off.
Tara meets her father in his office to discuss a small favor and scholarship matters.
Sitting across from her, the father asks Tara what sort of request she has in mind. Tara explains her interest in the pharmaceutical scholarship program and its selection process for talented candidates. A sudden, inquisitive tilt sounding, the father asks if Tara's candidate has any formal raw material training.
He notes that while status isn't considered, scholarship recipients usually follow academic paths in raw materials.
Tara's eyes sparkle with excitement as her father observes her passionate reaction to the proposal.
A sudden, respectful bow sounding, Tara promises to return quickly and avoid trivial work at the palace.
The father pauses to ask if this specific request is truly that important to her.
A sudden, quiet sip sounding, the father agrees to talk to Dr. Oliver but warrants he'll follow the doctor's lead.
A sudden, sharp clack sounding, Tara clarifies the favor involves a servant named Niels and Peter.
The father chuckles with curiosity as he asks Tara to explain the situation regarding the boys.
A sudden, startled slip sounding, a maid is ordered out of the way on the stairs and falls. A sudden, terrified yah sounding, the maid screams as she tumbles down the steep stairs.
A sudden, forceful grab sounding, a hand reaches out and catches the maid to stop her fall.
A sudden, heavy pant sounding, Tara stands shocked as the maid gasps and Jason looms above them. A sudden, angry whip sounding, Tara checks on the slumped maid before turning a furious gaze toward Jason.
Tara tells Beth to step aside as she prepares for a tense confrontation with Jason. A sudden, forceful grab sounding, Jason seizes Tara's shoulders and accuses her of plotting against him.
A sudden, heavy squeeze sounding, Jason's rage flares as he questions Tara's lack of self-preservation. A sudden, sharp grit sounding, Tara fumes over being called a cow and resolves to retaliate. A sudden, quick wink sounding, Tara sends a secret signal to Beth while ordering her away.
A sudden, fast dash sounding, Beth leaves as Jason hurls cruel insults at his sister's appearance.
Tara mocks Jason's threats, wondering if he realizes the consequences if their father finds out. A sudden, loud shout sounding, Jason claims he has nothing left to lose in this conflict. A sudden, cold smirk sounding, Tara suggests Jason actually has a great deal more to lose.
Beth follows the secret signal, preparing to retrieve the items Tara mentioned earlier from a drawer. Hurrying through the palace, Beth remains determined to support her lady during the dangerous meeting. Jason remains confused as Tara offers him a mysterious present to settle their ongoing dispute.
A sudden, sharp clock sounding, Tara presents a safe key while Jason falters in visible shock.
A sudden, loud clack sounding, Tara opens the box while Jason remains stunned by her boldness.
Tara explains the box contains evidence of his bribery, causing Jason to tremble with visible fear.
Laughing confidently, Tara promises to keep the evidence hidden to protect the family's future accomplishments.
A sudden, sharp halt sounding, Tara reveals that a copy of the incriminating evidence exists elsewhere.
Jason screams in frantic disbelief, unable to comprehend the trap Tara has perfectly laid.
Tara looks down on Jason, asking if he finally understands the gravity of his situation.
Broken and desperate, Jason begs Tara to reveal who is holding the other copy of the key.
Jason tries to call her bluff, but Tara insists she has never been one to lie.
A sudden, heavy slam sounding, Tara pins Jason against the wall, demanding safety for her people.
A sudden, light flounce sounding, Tara leaves the defeated Jason fuming alone on the stairs. Walking with Beth, Tara admits that Jason's terrifying presence nearly gave her a heart attack. A sudden, weary sigh sounding, Tara prays for a peaceful future in the countryside after this mess. Watching from a distance, Bernard observes the sibling conflict and notes the shallow nature of their family. Alone in his room, Jason despairs over how his life fell apart so quickly. Consumed by hatred, Jason vows to make Tara pay for the humiliation she caused him. Elsewhere, a blonde woman opens a box, wondering if it contains a token of gratitude.
A sudden, light rustle sounding, the woman reads Tara's letter and laughs at her apprentice's audacity.
The letter details a plan to protect Tara's mother should Jason attempt to harm her. A sudden, quick bow sounding, the master orders her informants to watch Jason and protect her apprentice. Bernard presents Tara with a custom pink hatchet designed for her personal self-defense.
Tara questions the color and Bernard explains the blacksmith made it pink for a lady.
A sudden warm blush sounding, Bernard explains how to conceal the weapon under her dress.
A sudden polite ahem sounding, Bernard warns that hatchets are fetal and difficult for women to use.
Tara smiles, deeply touched by the first gift she has received out of genuine concern.
A sudden playful squeal sounding, Tara jokes about violence while Bernard shouts in horrified protest.
Bernard insists that killing is his job and advises her to use the blunt side.
A sudden friendly nudge sounding, Tara tells Bernard to loosen up so they can get closer.
A sudden loud ah-ha-ha sounding, Tara runs off, teasing Bernard as they head toward the restaurant.
Arriving at a restaurant, Tara finds the name The Kingdom Royal Cuisine to be quite humorous.
A sudden thoughtful furrow sounding, Tara learns they must wait an hour for their meeting.
A sudden sharp flinch sounding, Bernard reacts poorly when Tara suggests eating at the expensive restaurant. A sudden angry shout sounding, Bernard scolds Tara for her irregular and unhealthy eating habits.
Defending herself, Tara explains that stress and nightmares made her lose her appetite for breakfast. The two continue to bicker about diet and portion sizes while walking through the city streets.
A sudden quiet point sounding, Beth spots the knights who previously caused trouble at their house.
Tara is haunted by the traumatic memory of the knights who were ordered to whip her. Bernard notes the prince's presence inside the restaurant, while Tara expresses her deep disdain for him. Tara and a hooded figure are suddenly surrounded by a menacing crowd of shadows.
The blonde-haired hooded man mockingly greets Tara as Bernard stands ready with his axe.
A sudden playful hee-hee sounding, Nick watches Prince Kyle dine with his bold cousin Diane.
Diane enjoys her meal, while narrative notes she is the only one who bosses Kyle.
A sudden polite ahem sounding, Nick watches the cousin scold the prince about his onions.
A sudden quick pinch sounding, Diane playfully shakes Kyle's face like he's still her little cousin.
Kyle threatens Diane's family for her disrespect, but she remains entirely unfazed by his coldness.
Diane laughs off the threat since she has no living parents or children to lose.
A sudden rhythmic munch sounding, Philippe focuses on his food, hoping to leave the awkward scene. Kyle inquires about their stay, and Diane explains they will visit Philippe's mother in a week.
A sudden startled jolt sounding, Philippe reels as Kyle addresses him by his first name.
A sudden sharp gasp sounding, Nick panics as Diane asks for his opinion on Kyle's behavior.
A sudden stiff salute sounding, Nick declares it is an honor to serve the strict prince.
A sudden loud pfft sounding, Philippe spits his wine when Kyle asks about their future children.
A sudden gentle pat sounding, Diane comforts Philippe while Kyle chides her for being too direct.
A sudden frantic jolt sounding, Diane spots a confrontation happening in the street below their window. Kyle looks down to see Tara, Bernard, and Beth trapped by the dangerous-looking gang members.
A sudden, cold smirk sounding, Kyle orders Nick to escort his guests out before he intervenes.
Kyle prepares to head outside, assuring Diane that he is no longer the man he was.
Diane watches Kyle leave, noting that he has truly grown into a strong and capable leader.
Philippe and Diane exit the room, confused that Kyle referred to the lady as his scribe. Diane looks out the window, mistaking the well-built Bernard for the scribe Kyle mentioned earlier.
Diane finds it fascinating that Kyle personally handles security matters, though Nick clarifies his unofficial role.
A sudden, quiet glance sounding, Nick watches Tara and agrees she possesses remarkable bravery and spirit.
Nick reflects on Tara's aura, realizing she shares a similar, powerful energy with his prince. Tara remains alert as the crowd grows, wondering why so many enemies have appeared at once.
The hooded leader mocks Tara's appearance while she fumes over the crowd's cold lack of help.
A sudden, sharp glance sounding, Bernard tells Tara to stay close so he can effectively protect her.
A sudden, loud cheer sounding, the Lacton gang prepares to attack the pair before guards arrive.
Tara brandishes her pink hatchet, determined to fight alongside Bernard and practice her self-defense training.
A sudden, heavy swing sounding, Bernard tells Tara to stay behind him as the gang advances.
Bernard gives Tara combat instructions while she notes the surprisingly good grip of her pink hatchet.
The gang laughs at Tara's pink weapon as Bernard prepares to strike first against the group.
Bernard promises to protect a nervous Tara, who finds his sudden sincerity quite touching and sweet.
The two charge into the fray, coordinating their movements to take down the surrounding gang members. Kyle watches the fight from above, telling Nick to hold back for now and observe them.
Kyle is impressed by Bernard's seasoned fighting style and his dedication to keeping Tara safe.
A sudden, heavy wham sounding, Tara whacks an enemy's leg, moving with surprising agility and speed.
Nick notes that Bernard is purposefully avoiding lethal blows, making the fight resemble hand-to-hand combat.
A sudden, forceful swing sounding, Bernard and Tara continue to defend themselves against the gang's onslaught.
Kyle suddenly leaps down from the balcony into the middle of the street fight below.
A sudden, sharp thwack sounding, Kyle strikes an enemy, furious that anyone would punch his scribe.
The gang members recoil in shock, unable to comprehend the sudden arrival of the powerful noble.
Kyle claims he always pays his debts, while the hooded leader finds his face strangely familiar. The hooded leader screams for his men to finish the fight against Kyle and Bernard together.
The battle ends as Tara comforts Beth, praising Bernard as their knight in shining armor. Kyle stands over them, arrogantly stating he made a rare exception to help his lowly scribe.
A sudden, respectful bow sounding, Tara theatrically thanks the prince for his supposedly boundless generosity. Tara mentally mocks Kyle's late arrival while feigning deep respect to avoid further royal conflict.
Kyle tells her to stop the flattery, suspecting she still holds a grudge regarding Durban. Kyle stands firm, refusing to change his decision despite Tara's rigid and visible frustration.
Tara observes the prince, noting that he looks like a polished golden boy in his finery.
A sudden, light clap sounding, Tara teases Kyle about being a man about town.
Kyle finds it suspicious that Tara's ambitious goal doesn't align with her recent career choices.
Kyle questions Tara's underlying motives for accepting a risky position in the Ministry of Security.
Nervous and sweating, Tara wonders why the prince is interrogating her about her career now.
Kyle notes that Tara has consistently chosen an unconventional path for a woman of her status. Looking thoughtful, Kyle decides his intuition is right and he must not lower his guard.
A sudden, startled jolt sounding, Tara is shocked when Kyle dismisses her excuses as absolute nonsense.
Kyle recounts their history, explaining why her current actions contradict her past desire for success.
Tara fidgets nervously, claiming she lacks the temperament to survive the complex politics of internal affairs.
Kyle highlights the difficulty levels of various ministries, flatly accusing Tara of being a liar. Kyle points out that Tara's unwavering decision for the hardest path proves she has a secret.
Kyle recalls how Tara previously avoided trouble, making her current boldness seem entirely out of character.
Kyle concludes that she isn't the type to be reckless, leaving Tara to silently question him.
Kyle asserts that her personality makes her current excuse for avoiding internal affairs completely illogical. Tara counters that everyone acts in contradictory ways depending on the specific circumstances they face. Kyle demands the real truth behind why she insists on working directly under his command.
A sudden, anxious fidget sounding, Tara refuses to disclose her personal reasons to the prince.
A sudden, cold chill sounding, Kyle turns icy, stating that her silence makes her appear suspicious.
Kyle leans in aggressively, warning that only enemies hide the truth before asking her one last time. Tara is struck with fear as she realizes Kyle is now treating her like an enemy.
Bernard appears with his axe raised, urgently asking the frightened Tara if she is all right. Kyle orders the knight to back off, but Bernard remains defiant to protect his mistress.
A sudden, loud swish and swoosh sounding, Kyle summons his knights to surround Bernard and Tara.
A sudden, sharp whish sounding, Tara tries to stop Bernard before the situation turns truly deadly.
Tara realizes Bernard's reckless loyalty is born from a dangerous lack of experience with royal power. A sudden, heavy halt sounding, Tara stops Bernard, claiming the prince is only testing her.
A sudden, tense clench sounding, Tara orders Bernard to step aside and avoid a hopeless fight.
A sudden, respectful bow sounding, Bernard yields while Kyle orders his men to escort them home.
Kyle commands Tara to follow him, addressing her by her official title as a third scribe.
Beth scolds Bernard for his reckless bravery while he insists on the virtues of a knight.
A sudden, startled flinch sounding, Beth notices the prince's knights are still watching them closely.
A red-haired knight praises Bernard's loyalty while the maid remains visibly shaken by the encounter.
A sudden, quiet trickle sounding. Beth's eyes fill with tears as the mounting stress finally breaks.
A sudden, loud wah sounding. Beth cries hysterically about how terrified she was for their lives.
Noticing Bernard is bleeding, a worried Beth begs him to let her check the wound.
A sudden quicksand sounding, Beth insists on getting medicine while Bernard tries to act tough.
A sudden, quiet whisper sounding. The other knights decide to leave the emotional pair alone.
Tara stands outside the royal tea house, reflecting on the secrets of the distant Pantheon plains.
Seated inside, Tara begins explaining her two primary reasons for joining the military's security branch.
Tara identifies as a merchant's daughter, prompting Kyle to ask if she expects a return.
A sudden, slow sip sounding, Kyle dismisses the idea of truth, saying he expects her lies.
Kyle explains that he relies on his own judgment rather than the words of others.
A sudden, sharp clink sounding, Kyle sets his cup down, focused intently on Tara's next words.
Tara argues that it is unfair for him to potentially label her honest truth as a lie. The two remain locked in a tense stare across the table, neither willing to back down.
Kyle coldly reveals that he would have used torture if he truly considered her an enemy.
Tara realizes this meeting is an act of mercy, giving her a chance to avoid force. Kyle challenges her to use this opportunity to convince him of her genuine and honest intentions.
Tara stares into her tea, wondering what made the prince so cold and untrusting. Kyle warns Tara that inconsistencies in her story might lead him to resort to torture.
A sudden, slow sip sounding, Tara nervously notes that Kyle's casual threats of torture are unsettling.
A sudden, sharp clink sounding, Tara sets down her cup, challenging the prince's false premises.
Kyle questions whether Tara is truly suggesting that she is not his enemy.
A sudden, light shrug sounding, Tara claims she is a good citizen with no obligation to explain.
Kyle admits his evidence is thin, but still suspects Tara harbors some hidden ulterior motives.
Deciding to be open, Tara announces she is ready to disclose her real hidden intentions.
Tara holds up two fingers, preparing to detail her two main reasons for joining him.
A sudden, cold frown sounding, Kyle's eyes narrow as Tara identifies him as her primary reason.
Kyle finds it interesting that she considers him a threat to her family's house.
Leaning on his hand, Kyle asks if she is referring to a threat in the near future.
A sudden, nervous gulp sounding, Tara begs the prince to listen carefully and not misinterpret her. Kyle is stunned by her bluntness, asking if she has completely lost her mind. Tara explains her honesty is a desperate attempt to avoid being thrown into the dungeons. A sudden, tired furrow sounding, Kyle listens as Tara discusses his precarious position as an illegitimate heir. A sudden, dry ha sounding, Kyle laughs mirthlessly at the harsh reality of her blunt words.
Tara states his life will remain tough because of the unfortunate circumstances of his birth.
A heavy silence falls over the tea house as the two contemplate their complicated political reality. Kyle looks at Tara with a newfound sense of amusement, or perhaps respect for her boldness. A brief pause in their intense conversation marks a shift in the atmosphere between them. Tara claims she wants to stay close because he is her biggest enemy, then laughs it off.
A sudden, polite ahem sounding, Tara clarifies that keeping him close helps her deter undesirable events.
Tara notes that her siblings working at the palace will surely be used against their family.
Tara observes that the struggle for the throne will inevitably drag her family into the strife.
This family risk is the sole reason Tara accepted a position in the Ministry of Security. Kyle reflects that no one has ever dared to call him illegitimate to his face before. Looking down at the table, Kyle processes the weight of Tara's honest and dangerous assessment. Kyle admits she is right about his status and why nobles are reluctant to support him. Tara listens quietly as the prince acknowledges his status as a threat to many.
Kyle smirks while sipping tea, noting that his enemies will not spare him if found out.
Kyle wonders if Tara is actually afraid of learning more about his true, hidden intentions. A sudden, quiet smirk sounding, Kyle thinks Tara finally looks like an ordinary, nervous teenager.
A sudden, tired drop sounding, Tara expresses disappointment over the corruption she found in the ministry.
Kyle watches her closely, his gaze sharp and analytical during her moment of vulnerability.
A sudden, sharp clock sounding, the tension breaks as they finish their tea and continue the deal. Kyle turns the conversation back to business, asking what she wants in return for her service.
Kyle notes Tara's desperation as she asks to pose a question before stating her price.
Kyle correctly guesses Tara wants to know why he is sending her to the conflict-ridden Durban.
Kyle explains that Durban is the perfect place to learn about the affairs of other nations. A sudden, slow nod sounding, Tara learns Kyle values workers over those who merely play politics.
Kyle remains interested in her potential, demanding she finally state what she wants in return.
Tara hesitates, mentally calculating a time frame of 6 to 8 months for her request.
A sudden, heavy rise sounding, an impatient Kyle tells her to get to the point immediately.
A sudden, startled jolt sounding, Tara asks the prince to meet a mysterious man at the palace. A sudden, nervous shrink sounding, Tara apologizes as Kyle's expression turns visibly annoyed.
Tara promises the visitor won't be an assassin, even though she cannot disclose his identity yet.
Kyle questions if he must meet every random person who claims she has sent them.
Tara pauses to think, deciding she needs to create a secret code for the meeting.
Tara excitedly proposes the secret code Dynamite is lighting up for their future contact.
Tara excitedly reveals her favorite weapon's name, shouting about the light of dynamite.
A sudden, cheerful laugh sounding, Tara explains her love for weapons that flare up brilliantly.
A sudden, startled flinch sounding, Kyle offers Tara tea while she expresses silent disgust.
Kyle stares intensely as Tara remains seated, clearly troubled by their ongoing conversation.
Tara looks up with a confused expression, asking the prince to clarify his meaning.
A sudden, sharp turn sounding, Kyle instructs Scribe Elias to treat her bruised brow.
Standing alone, Tara fumes about Kyle's sadistic choice of tea she didn't enjoy. Tara ponders Kyle's high expectations and the mystery behind his own secret royal intentions. A sudden, quick pop sounding, Tara vents to Beth about the prince's blatant political ambitions.
A sudden, soft whimper sounding, Beth worries about Tara's injuries before her departure.
Tara demands a mirror while Beth nags her about the dangers of wielding an axe.
A sudden, quick click and heavy done sounding, Tara looks in the mirror and panics. Tara screams in total embarrassment, realizing she spoke to the prince with a bruised forehead. Beth offers a nervous white lie about her appearance while Tara stares in shock. A sudden, sharp sting sounding, Tara winces in pain, lamenting her constant bad luck.
Later, a cloaked Tara meets a man at a restaurant to discuss a report.
Josh Lucas, age 26, expresses deep anxiety about being selected for his medical research.
Tara offers her personal sponsorship, providing hope to the nervous, black-haired researcher. Tara claims she seeks merchant profits while secretly knowing Josh will become a famous physician.
Tara praises Josh for his talent in publishing research within an obscure science journal.
Tara encourages Josh to improve his research through the better funding her family provides.
Josh listens intently as Tara assures him his independent research is more than convincing.
A sudden, heavy drop sounding, Josh bows deeply, overwhelmed by the incredible sponsorship opportunity.
Tara asks Josh to utilize his medicine in the name of House Elias during her absence.
A sudden, quick nod and shock sounding, Tara identifies Prince Kyle Amir as her superior. A sudden, frantic shake and smile sounding, Josh panics over meeting royalty while Tara laughs. Tara reassures the timid man that he only needs to reach out if she's gone.
Tara urges Josh to accept the sponsorship deal for his truly groundbreaking medical work.
Tara requests stomach medicine for Bernard as her group prepares to depart for Durban. A formal speech bubble confirms the successful application for the Elias family sponsorship.
A firm handshake between Josh and Tara seals the deal for their future partnership.
Traveling by carriage, Bernard asks Tara to stop using his health as a convenient excuse.
Tara and Bernard discuss the vital importance of Josh Lucas to their future plans. The carriage approaches a grand estate while the group continues their journey toward Durban.
Tara explains the lethal and poisonous nature of the eastern herb called wolfsbane.
Tara notes that Josh will eventually discover the plant's potential as a revolutionary anesthetic.
Bernard asks for clarification on what a local anesthetic actually is during their ride. Bernard acknowledges the groundbreaking opportunity this discovery offers for the Elias pharmaceutical business.
A sudden, soft, lean sounding, Tara rests her head, exhausted from her secret networking efforts. Back at the palace, a purple-haired knight reports on Tara's secret meeting with Josh Lucas. Kyle orders continuous surveillance, valuing independent reports over Tara's own messages from Durban. Kyle sternly corrects his knight, insisting he refer to Tara by her title, Scribe Elias. The purple-haired knight expresses doubt that an administrative scribe can handle Durban's dangerous.
A sudden, sharp gasp sounding, Kyle shouts Nick Bright's name, startling the subordinate knight.
Kyle asserts that capacity for duty is far more important than a person's physical looks. Kyle punishes Nick Bright with 6 hours of spar training for his narrow-minded assessment. A sudden, quiet mumble sounding, Kyle sighs as he returns to reading his book.
Kyle and Tara walk together, discussing the complexity and caution required for family affairs.
A sudden, light shrug sounding, Tara claims everyone has unbelievable stories, including her own.
A sudden, quick turn sounding, Kyle turns back, intrigued by Tara's mysterious and bold words.
Scribe Elias bows deeply, apologizing to Prince Kyle for her previous rude behavior.
As she runs off, Kyle smirks, humored by her belief that she understands his grand strategy.
Back home, Tara hands over school documents to Niels and assigns the boy a teacher.
Both the brown-haired servant and Niels react with overwhelming shock to Tara's generosity.
Tara explains that Osirian citizenship allows everyone, including servants, to enroll in the local academy.
Looking at the servant, Tara encourages him to take his time learning to read and write.
Tara reaffirms her trust in the servant, warmly considering him one of her own people.
A sudden, quick swoosh sounding, the servant is deeply touched while Niels wonders about his training.
Tara instructs Niels to train diligently and avoid trouble while she is away on assignment.
When Niels points out her facial bruise, Tara playfully dismisses it as a wound of honor.
Arya bursts into the room just as Tara is bragging about her gift from Bernard.
Tara greets her sister Arya, noting she should be resting instead of wandering around the house.
A sudden, loud cackle sounding. Arya mercilessly mocks Tara's swollen face and bruised eye.
Arya continues to laugh hysterically, delighted by Tara's unfortunate and hilarious appearance.
Tara fumes at the insults, threatening to withhold Arya's gift if the mocking continues.
Changing tone, Tara offers a gift as thanks for Arya's help during her recent interview.
Tara demands better behavior, warning Arya that her bad day might cost her the present.
Tara notices Arya's stuttering has vanished, prompting the young woman to politely ask for the gift.
Tara presents a rare book, claiming it holds the secrets to capturing any man's heart.
Arya quickly grabs the book, blushing while denying her one-sided crush on the prince.
Tara reveals that Volume 4 includes a profile of Prince Kyle, much to Arya's hidden interest.
Tara expresses hope that Arya reads it, as Arya asks about her sister's long-term absence.
A sudden, quick turn sounding, Arya leaves while telling Tara to write if she gets bored.
Beth asks about Tara's return plan, and Tara points to specific imperial promotion criteria.
The documents detail that special contributions to the Empire can lead to a post-transfer.
With a determined look, Tara assures Beth that she will make her return a reality. A sudden, sharp no sounding, Tara refuses to quit during her intense physical training session. Sweating but smiling, Tara enjoys the thrill of training with her weapon to build strength.
Elsewhere, a blonde prince discusses a brutal village massacre involving the Empress and Prince Kyle. The blonde prince listens intently as his subordinate confirms there are few records of the incident.
The subordinate mentions the Heroic Ones, a mercenary group that once performed dirty work for nobles.
Staring out the window, the blonde prince learns the mercenaries were also called the Cursed Ones.
Lacking concrete proof, the subordinate explains that most witnesses are dead or mentally ill.
The blonde prince orders for Lord Hans to report to him after completing his current work.
A sudden, quiet clack sounding, the blonde prince smirks while contemplating his next political move.
In a dark cell, the blonde prince meets an ambitious prisoner who once framed his brothers.
The prisoner advises the prince to sell state land to gain the trust of the nobility.
The prisoner argues that showing generosity now will secure the prince's future as the rightful leader.
The orange-eyed prisoner promises that everything will belong to the prince with his help. The blonde prince smiles, clearly impressed by the prisoner's dangerous confidence and calculating mind.
Later, a female scribe arrives at the office, learning the prince is ready to see her.
The subordinate remains uneasy, feeling the prince's new advisor is far more dangerous than he appears. A map illustrates the Durban Tripoint, a central hub of international conflict and territorial disputes.
For 20 years, 3 kingdoms have fought over this land, represented by a strategic standoff.
The area remains a designated conflict zone with no official agreement between the warring nations.
At the Elias estate, a letter from Niels arrives, updating Tara on the family status.
Tara and Beth read that Lord Jason was confined to his quarters for a month. Jason has begun working at the palace, though the Count has barred him from house business.
Lady Chloe is also at the palace, struggling to secure the headship amidst rocky royal relations.
Lady Arya is preparing for her debutante ball while constantly studying the book Tara gifted her.
Niels writes a letter detailing the Count's busy business schedule and unexpected kindness.
Lady Isabel and the Count enjoy a quiet tea together in the garden gazebo.
Niels notes that he visits the library 3 times a week as Tara advised.
Tara and Beth marvel at Niels' incredible speed in learning to read and write. Beth presents a newspaper that Niels sent along with his latest informative letter.
A sudden, quick rustle sounding. Tara reads about Kyle's controversial military border movements.
A sudden, light foot sounding, Tara resolves to write back to her worried brother.
Beth asks where Tara is going as Tara prepares for her evening scribe duty.
Tara lists her 8 complex administrative tasks while Beth looks on, utterly confused. Ignoring Beth's nagging about her physical limits, Tara decides to leave the room. Tara and a hooded informant wait at a lookout to verify a security report.
Tara suspects the informant's delay might be a secret trust test from her superior. Despite her heavy workload, Tara remains positive about her superior's confidence in her. The hooded man warns Tara that her basic duties won't earn her a promotion.
Tara admits she hoped for more chances to contribute spectacular service to the Empire.
A sudden, heavy slam sounding, the hooded man rages about the informant's absence.
Tara realizes this local investigative work might provide the points needed for her promotion. 2 months later, Tara and Beth walk through Durban discussing a local butcher shop.
Beth questions how Tara knew the butcher woman intended to leave her husband.
A sudden, confident grin sounding, Tara enjoys keeping the secret of her sharp deductions.
Beth laments losing her money in a bet as Tara demands her winnings. Tara points out she has always been accompanied by Beth during her town visits. A sudden, quick turn sounding, Beth is driven crazy by Tara's mysterious insight.
They discuss the butcher couple's volatile reputation while walking through the crowded town. Tara identifies the signs of severe domestic abuse despite the couple's recent reconciliation.
Beth points out the husband's public gifts, but Tara insists it's all knocked.
A sudden, sharp turn sounding, Tara explains the butcher is hiding her true intentions. A sudden, soft lean sounding, Tara explains the high costs of living in Brynor.
Tara reveals the butcher is secretly saving common currency to fund her escape. A sudden, firm grab sounding, Tara demands the 20 silvers Beth lost.
Tara laughs while demanding Beth fulfill the terms of their lost bet.
Beth tries to flatter Tara's beauty and weight loss to avoid paying her.
A sudden, soft whap sounding, Tara silences Beth's flattery as they enter the shop.
Tara mockingly praises Beth's greed as a trait learned from the merchant family. A sudden, cold shiver sounding, Beth desperately tries to save her precious coins.
The pair arrives at the shop counter to find the butcher lady waiting.
The butcher lady asks if the scribe wants to add anything to her order. Beth mentions a new dish for the consulate while asking about the woman's sen. A sudden, nervous tug sounding, the woman claims her soldier's son is too busy.
Narrative text explains the couple is notorious for their constant and public fighting.
Beth gasps as the butcher lady scribbles an order change in a ledger.
A sudden, loud slam sounding, Tara demands to pay the delivery man in common currency.
The butcher lady suddenly claims her son can make the delivery tomorrow morning.
Beth smirks, realizing the lie about the meat locker forced a specific delivery time.
Beth questions the convoluted plan and why they didn't just ask directly.
Tara asks Beth to guess her motive as they walk away.
Beth enthusiastically claims she has the answer.
Beth deduces that Tara wanted the meat delivered at its freshest point.
Tara flatly informs Beth that her deduction is completely wrong.
A sudden, frustrated fume sounding, Beth demands to know what was so incredible then.
Walking through the busy street, Tara refuses to reveal her plan to Beth, citing a jinx.
A young brown-haired man named Paul stands shivering outside the consulate gate next to 2 heavy bags.
A sudden, sharp creak sounding, Tara opens the gate and greets the startled delivery boy early in the morning.
Tara chuckles at Paul's confusion, noting that his reputation has made him somewhat famous at the base.
Paul is surprised he is recognized, but Tara mentions seeing him at the base several times.
Paul realizes every soldier knows Tara Elias, the efficient and fair third scribe of the military.
Rumors describe Tara as a cheerful, hardworking noble who treats everyone fairly and has overcome her past struggles.
Paul offers to carry the meat inside, but Tara asks if he has anything else to say.
A sudden, heavy roll sounding, Tara offers to help while Paul insists he can handle the weight.
Confronting him directly, Tara asks why Paul filed reports but never collected the 20 gold reward.
Looming over the trembling man, Tara demands to know if he realizes how much trouble he caused her.
Paul wonders how she caught him, but Tara modestly claims she simply got lucky during her investigation.
Tara explains she matched the identical handwriting from the meat purchase orders to the anonymous military reports. Pointing out his recent transfer request, Tara reminds Paul that she oversees all administrative documentation at the consulate.
Paul is shocked his anonymity failed, especially as Tara warns him about the legal penalties for false reports.
Paul begs for mercy, but Tara refuses to ignore the chance to earn promotion points for her service.
Tara questions why Paul filed the same report 3 times and then failed to meet with her.
Looking down in shame, Paul admits that Tara was correct about one of his many reasons. Paul explains that high-ranking officers are breaking military law, but their status prevents anyone from speaking out.
Tara realizes Paul was trying to bypass local corruption by reporting to the capital through her.
Paul recounts seeing soldiers habitually leave the base during night shifts and return in a drunken stupor. When Tara asks about the delay, Paul notes the previous lack of a scribe and his own fears. A sudden, soft ha sounding. Tara understands that Paul feared the repercussions of being labeled a snitch.
Paul suddenly tries to retract his cooperation, but Tara warns him about being charged with obstruction.
Paul begs to have the report dismissed, fearing social isolation more than the loss of the reward.
The young man remains silent and visibly anxious as he clutches his heavy delivery bag.
Paul asks for a pass, but Tara informs him she is sending the payment to his father.
A sudden, sharp tremble sounding, Tara reveals she knows Paul is secretly saving money to escape his father. Tara gives Paul a final choice: give her the names now or face a confrontation at his shop. Tara enters the consulate with the list of corrupt personnel as Beth stands to greet her lady.
Beth asks why the meeting was so secretive, but Tara claims the question is irrelevant to their success.
A sudden, quick tilt sounding, Tara explains the early morning was the only safe time for their informant. Tara argues that a direct request would have made Paul suspicious and scared him into hiding.
A sudden, quiet pause sounding, Tara realizes Beth is unaware of Paul's true role in the reports.
Tara tells Beth the details are confidential and thanks her for understanding the need for professional secrecy.
A letter from Josh Lucas discusses successful medical research using medicinal herbs and rare imported fruit. Tara reflects on her influence, knowing her family's survival depends on these early strategic medical interventions.
The letter includes medicine for Bernard and soothing herbal tea to help Tara manage her heavy workload. A sudden, heavy stretch sounding, Tara dismisses Beth's worries, focusing on her goal to lead House Elias. Tara remains determined, knowing her efforts are the only way to prevent the total destruction of her family. Beth is worried about the high stakes, but Tara playfully shifts the mood by complaining of hunger. Reverting to her usual self, Tara asks Beth to order a massive platter of meat for her meal.
Narrative text details a surprise attack by the Kingdom of Scandoa that caught Prince Kyle off guard.
Despite heavy casualties and destroyed bases, Kyle's swift retaliation prevented a total collapse of the border. The bloody conflict between the two kingdoms has reached a grim and temporary standstill on Mount Jeru. A sudden, loud swa sounding, the bandaged Kyle realizes a mole must be leaking their troop locations. A sudden, happy beam sounding, Nick Bright arrives with a report, chattering enthusiastically about his loyalty. Nick reports that the intelligence leak likely came from one of two dangerous and secretive organizations. The groups Dark Shadow and the Scorpion have been compromising high-ranking officers in the conflict zone.
Kyle orders a list of all high-ranking officers and demands a new strategy from his tactical team.
The brown-haired Prince Kyle orders Nick Bright to keep a close watch on the Black Society. Sitting in his office, the bandaged Prince Kyle reviews documents with Nick and the silver-haired Walter. Nick mentions having new information regarding Scribe Elias, catching the interest of the injured prince. Prince Kyle reaches out to take the scouting report from the purple-haired man's hand. A sudden, cold smirk sounding, Prince Kyle reads the impressive details of Tara's dedicated military service. Nick and Walter watch in disbelief, unsettled by the prince's uncharacteristic display of amusement. The scouts report details Tara's exceptional work ethic and mysterious productivity at the Durban consulate.
A sudden, heavy dun sounding, the prince continues smiling, leaving his subordinates deeply concerned and confused.
Walking away, Nick and Walter discuss the prince's strange order to leak information to criminals.
Nick claims to understand the plan, but Walter remains skeptical about deploying extra manpower for surveillance.
A sudden, quick swish sounding, Nick confidently offers to explain the strategy to ensure they are aligned. Thinking quickly, Nick insists that Walter speak first so he can correct any possible misunderstandings.
Walter explains that the Black Society avoids treason, strictly following the creed of their leader, Andre Pitt.
Walter asks if Nick would tolerate a rogue organization branching out from his own established principles.
A sudden, firm grab sounding, Nick enthusiastically agrees and praises the intelligence of their collective team. Walter leaves the blushing Nick behind after realizing the purple-haired man was just pretending to know.
In a dim room, a blonde woman in leopard print discusses suspicious activity within the Scorpion. Her aide reports the Scorpion's movements across 8 specific areas, including several critical conflict zones.
A map highlights the borders of Scandoa and the Durban Tri-Point as potential operational bases. A sudden, sharp jolt sounding, the blonde master is surprised to hear about activity in Durban. She reflects on Orlando's ambition and foolishness, knowing he has someone protecting him from the shadows.
Chuckling to herself, the master decides it is time to utilize her apprentice stationed in Durban. The blonde woman maintains a confident expression as her aide acknowledges her new command.
The aide recalls that Orlando, the head of the Scorpion, originally brought disgrace to the master. When asked about monitoring Tara, the master insists her apprentice wouldn't betray her for mere money. She wonders if Tara truly sees her as a mentor or is simply using her influence. The master decides to assign Tara to the case, believing she is perfect for this mission. Her aide questions their next move if Orlando suspects they have uncovered the military intelligence leak. Handing over a pouch, the master orders him to distribute medicine to everyone except for Tara. The aide bows respectfully to his master, confirming he will carry out the secret medicine distribution.
Riding in a carriage, Tara discusses her plan to earn promotion points by investigating corrupt reports.
Tara informs Bernard that earning 300 points would allow her to transfer to the capital.
Bernard points out that no one has ever managed to achieve such a high score before.
Resting her head on her hand, Tara remains determined to make a significant contribution to the Empire.
A sudden rhythmic top sounding, Tara excitedly admires her new cloak while feeling optimistic about her progress.
She is convinced her hard work will finally allow her to return to the capital very soon.
Enjoying the beautiful weather, Tara asks Bernard for the time as they travel through the countryside.
Tara sings a popular song at the top of her lungs, much to Bernard's vocal annoyance.
A sudden, sharp halt sounding, Bernard stops the carriage as Tara continues her loud, tone-deaf performance.
A sudden, quick turn sounding, Bernard ignores her singing and alerts her to an approaching lone rider.
A soldier on horseback speeds toward the carriage under the bright blue sky of the open road.
Reaching the carriage, the soldier expresses his relief that he managed to intercept the traveling scribe.
Tara rushes to the window, surprised by the interruption, as the soldier warns her of grave trouble. The soldier reveals that the high-ranking officers Tara intended to interrogate have suddenly gone missing from base. He explains that the entire military base is on high alert following the mysterious disappearances last night. Missing high-ranking officers are treated as a severe threat or potential criminal activity in conflict zones. Tara clutches her head in despair, unable to believe that her primary targets have vanished so suddenly.
Bernard asks if a search party is out, looking for any sign of the missing corrupt officials.
A sudden, heavy sigh sounding, Tara thanks the soldier for the warning before he departs. Tara slumps over in defeat, lamenting the loss of her precious promotion points and her good mood. Bernard oversees a rigorous training session as Beth watches from the estate, proud of Tara's dedication. Beth reflects on the 9 months of exhausting physical training Tara has endured with Bernard's guidance.
A sudden, soft sniffle sounding, Beth sheds tears of joy while praising Tara for her incredible progress.
Tara refuses to lose any more weight, fearing she will lack the strength required for training. The orange-haired girl prioritizes her health and comfort over the restrictive beauty standards of the nobility. Tara explains the importance of lower body strength before sheepishly regretting her choice of words. Deciding to maintain her current weight, Tara accepts that minor physical fluctuations are a normal occurrence.
Beth notices Tara's unhappiness, but the girl claims to simply be overwhelmed by her many thoughts.
A sudden heavy whack sounding, Tara calculates that she has lost 42 kilograms since her reincarnation.
A sudden, loud thud sounding, Tara destroys a training dummy while deciding to stop her weight loss.
Standing resolute, Tara remains focused on her goal despite the heavy burden of her family's future.
Tara laments that her stagnant promotion points are preventing her from securing a transfer back home.
A sudden, sharp whack sounding, Bernard demonstrates an aerial strike and demands Tara's absolute concentration.
A sudden heavy drag sounding, Bernard scolds the tired girl for letting her axe touch the ground.
Seeing Tara's gloomy aura, Bernard suggests ending the session, but she insists on staying busy.
Bernard moves on to ground techniques, preparing to teach Tara how to pin and choke an opponent.
Bernard explains that an attacker's carelessness around women provides a vital opening for a counterattack. The instructor details the mechanics of using legs to secure a chokehold and neutralize a larger foe.
A sudden, sharp jolt sounding, Bernard loses his patience with Tara's distraction as an aide arrives.
An aide delivers documents from the capital, finally ending Tara's 2-month wait for the official papers.
A sudden, quick turn sounding, Tara decides to return to work, much to Bernard's silent disappointment. Bernard warns Tara that he expects more focus from the master he has pledged his loyalty to. A sudden, firm clench sounding, Tara vows to stop her self-pity and reclaim her inner strength. Reminding herself that she thrives on challenges, Tara prepares to face the difficult road ahead.
The orange-haired girl stares forward with a gaze of absolute determination to succeed in her mission.
Watching the instructor walk away, Tara reflects on Bernard's natural potential to lead as a general.
Tara is surprised to learn that Sergeant Bruno has arrived at the consulate for an urgent meeting.
Sergeant Bruno tries to distract Tara with tea while she questions the accuracy of his paperwork. A sudden, quick slide sounding, Bruno defends his reporting skills, claiming he never makes the same mistake.
Bruno suggests that Tara take time off, noting her intense and seemingly desperate work habits lately.
A sudden, quiet sounding, Tara finds the sergeant's jokes about her personal life quite distasteful.
A sudden, soft ha-ha sounding, Bruno laughs at Tara's ambition while warning her against returning home.
A sudden, light reach sounding, Bruno piques Tara's interest with news of a burglary at an officer's home. The sergeant reveals that a witness claims to have seen 2 captains who recently went missing. A sudden, sharp gasp sounding, Tara reacts with shock to the possibility of finding the missing men.
Bruno explains that a search for a hidden chamber was unsuccessful, leading to a false alarm report.
Bruno laughs about the confusion of identical houses, prompting Tara to consider offering her own help. A sudden, cold smirk sounding, Tara realizes finding the missing captains is her path to promotion points.